that protects the legal title to your property. With Home Title Lock, you get non-stop monitoring, urgent alerts, and up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore the title, backed by U.S.-based restoration specialists.
If you, as an owner, do not detect or do not take steps, you literally find yourself not owning the property you think you own.
Anyone, if you have a home, you need to get Home Title Lock.
For just pennies a day, can you afford to leave your home's title unprotected? Call Home Title Lock right now to get your free home title scan and start your first 30 days of protection absolutely risk-free.
Call 800-883-6098, 800-883-6098.
So in another human moment yesterday, John, President Trump got some McDonald's delivery from DoorDash, and there was a lady, Sharon Simmons, who met with President Trump. There she is depicted there. She was talking about President Trump's no tax on tips policy that has helped her family out immensely and delivered really more than $11,000 in savings ahead of tax day, which is tomorrow. And President Trump gave her a big tip, $100. So really
preaching the gospel and equipping the saints in a way that only Todd Friel can. Wretched, weekdays and weeknights on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. And look who is here. Paulina is with me today. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
What's going on? I'm out of my box.
Oh, no, you're back in it. You're in the box you're supposed to be in. Anyway, good morning. Everything's fine. Good to see you. Jerry's away today and tomorrow, but good to see you. And
thank you.
People love it when you're here.
Well,
you know, your fan club lets me know.
All three of them, huh?
4 now.
4. Wow. I'm expanding.
There you go.
Anyway,
good morning to you. Everything okay at your end?
Yes, everything is fine. I still helping you with the show and trying not to get too sucked into politics these days.
A lot to be.
I know it's you know so much going on,
and it wears you out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just wears you out. It's just like, I don't know.
Well, and when I
get off the show and I get home at night, I'm exhausted from it because you're supposed to know everything, and I don't want to know everything now.
Exactly, and that's what I realized. It was so nice during Lent to just purposely not to be in the details.
Yeah.
You know, we still have to follow things, and I have to obviously follow things for the show to schedule guests, but just kind of surface level.
Yeah.
It was so nice not to listen to all these talk shows and commentaries just to clear my head. Now I have to be back in it for the morning show. So I'm making the sacrifice for you, but I feel for you. It's just so heavy to be in this world.
News is no longer fun to do. You have to do it, and you're under so much pressure to do it this way or that way, and people tell you should have said this or you should have said that. So it's a result that the world is anxious because of the way the headlines are being delivered today. And the biggest thing is, who can you trust?
Exactly. What's the truth? You know, it used to be the reporting of facts. Now we don't even know what the facts are. We're reporting what someone else reported and their commentary on that reporting.
Yeah.
It's
so
upside down.
If you're getting your news from social media, let me tell you this. The first thing you ought to do, if you see something on social media, you need to go to mainline news sources and see if it's there too. You know, I have seen stories on social media, and the first thing I do is I have 4 or 5 places I go, and if it doesn't show up there, then you know that story is fake, you know.
Well, is it possible that the mainstream is not covering some things too? That's a question people ask.
Well, if
they're afraid to touch these things, maybe because they haven't verified them, or maybe because they just don't want to touch them. Sometimes social media people are the ones breaking the story, and I'm like you. I'm still distrustful. Patrick will show me a story, and I say, what's the source? But a lot of the time it ends up being the truth because these people, the journalists out there with the phone, actually gets to these stories faster now.
Well, when it shows President Trump in the hospital, you know that's not true.
Yeah.
You know,
the reports of. You know, this, are you talking about when Well, one of the ones I'm thinking about, I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, sirens in D.C., and there's presence by the hospital, and President Trump has been admitted, and then you just...
It's just kind of crazy. Well, anyway, there is a lot of news. We'll try our best this morning to bring you some of the highlights of what is going on. There is a lot of good things happening today, and like I said, Jerry is away for today and tomorrow. We'll be back, and Paulina's here. It's always a joy to have her. Let's see, we've got weather. Well, it kind of comes and goes. We'll talk about that in a minute, but do we have anything special today?
Well, I totally forgot that I'm supposed to do this, the National Day, so I'm looking it up. Okay. I see on the rundown that it's a pecan day, National Pecan Day.
Let me check out the weather first while you're doing that.
Okay.
Well, because that's important, especially if there's food involved.
More important than pecan pie.
Well, no, I don't know about that. All right, let's check out the weather first and see what's going on. And here's a nice guy doing the weather.
Here's our forecast from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, rain after late morning with highs in the mid-50s. Breezy south winds increase 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting higher with steady afternoon rain and cooler temperatures. Moving down the Willamette Valley with showers mainly in the afternoon with a south wind gusting up to 23 miles per hour. Daytime highs will be in the mid-50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene. Partly sunny skies today across central Oregon with daytime high temperatures near 59 in Prineville and low to mid-50s for Bend and Sun River. Patchy fog in Boise, Idaho, then mostly sunny in upper 50s. Along the Oregon coast, showers likely in mid-50s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, a chance of showers in low 50s in Brookings, and partly sunny with a high near 55 in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, partly sunny in Grants Pass and Medford with highs in the low 60s. Increasing clouds in Ashland and in Klamath Falls with daytime highs in the upper 50s and showers moving in overnight. Into Northern California with clearing skies and a high in the low 60s in Wairika. Sunny to mostly sunny from Redding down through Chico and Sacramento with high temperatures in the upper 60s. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then sunny in upper 60s in Santa Rosa and near 66 in Napa. Sunny in San Francisco with a high in the mid-60s. And in San Jose, patchy fog before 9 a.m., then sunny in upper 60s. It's a look at your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
And there's a picture of our backyard this morning. Still some high clouds kind of hanging around, and beautiful green out there with all the rain, so looking good.
Wow, it got light fast.
Yeah.
It's dark outside just 20 minutes ago.
Well, yes, and see, the days are getting longer until about June 22nd, somewhere in there, and then they turn around and go the other way. So anyway.
Exciting.
So
yeah.
do we have anything special today?
We do. Well, you just showed a beautiful picture of the valley, and today is Look at the Sky Day. It encourages us to admire the beauty that God created for us. So go outside, look at the hopefully blue sky, and be grateful for that. Also, it's National Gardening Day. So if you have been thinking about picking up that shovel and starting to plant and do stuff in your garden, beautiful flowers.
There you go.
Today's the day. And then finally, the day that you have been waiting for, it's National Pecan Day. Pecan? Whatever it is. Yeah. Whether you like it in a pie form or I guess just as candied pecans, today is the day.
Wow.
So enjoy those nuts in whatever form you want.
Well,
what do you think about that?
A friend of mine sent Peggy and I a box of pecans that were like, some were chocolate covered, some were different, flavors, and one was just plain pecan. But excuse me, the company that bagged them was Atkinson Pecan Company.
No relation?
No relation.
Oh, dang it. You could get some royalties from those.
I got family in farming, but not pecans. Not pecans.
What farming does your family do? Rice? Avocados?
Getting out of rice, they do avocados now.
Nice.
Cows and hay.
Wow. Cool. Well, today is gardening.
Used to be rice.
Do avocados grow in Oregon or not?
No.
Can you grow an avocado?
Well, I guess you could, yes. They grow a lot in California. The problem with the California avocado is the cartel controls that industry.
In California?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Mexican cartel or California cartel?
Yeah, no, Mexican cartel controls the avocado flow, and industry in California.
Are we allowed to talk about it, or
No.
we're not going to be here tomorrow?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, let's switch gears then.
Yeah, let's move on here.
Let's hear from Pastor Greg Laurie. He has a good reminder for us this morning about our sins that have been forgiven.
We're in verse 19. He says, "We know we're of the truth, and we shall assure our hearts before him, for if our heart condemn us, God is greater than our heart, and he knows all things. Beloved, if our heart does not condemn us, we have confidence toward God that whatever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight." Sometimes our heart condemns us. Sometimes we do something we should not have done, and we feel bad about it. So John is saying, even if our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart. And coming back to the blood of Jesus, I did cross the line, but Jesus died on the cross, and I'm forgiven, and my sin is canceled, and my sin is forgiven, and my sin is forgotten.
Hey, there we go.
Hey.
Are your sins forgiven?
I'm asking for that.
Yes.
And I hope so, yes. But I know it's kind of one of those things that differ from denomination to denomination, and different, maybe not all the churches, but some say, once forgiven, you're done, you're forgiven, you're good to go.
Yeah. So some say sanctification is developing your spiritual life.
Right. Or it's a journey and it's a process, because, yes, the sins that I've confessed and the sins that have been forgiven. But what about the ones I'm going to commit today? Are they automatically forgiven just because?
No, you're getting in a great theological discussion, and that is why I think there's several examples of confession of sin continuing, and especially the upper room. They came back and they confessed, and they stayed there until the room shook. Mm-hmm. So yes, you should confess your faults one to another, that you may be healed. And I would say unconfessed sin is considered in the scripture as iniquity. That's concealed sin. And that's what, when Jesus rebuked his disciples, "Depart from me, I never knew you, you workers of iniquity." That's pretty stern stuff.
That's something you don't want to hear.
Yes, you can be forgiven, but to say that you can keep on sinning, God forbid, Romans talks about.
Yeah.
Anyway, a little theological discussion there.
It's wonderful. It's a reminder for us that it is a journey. And as we wake up today and start the day, and God has given us such wonderful opportunity to follow him and to accept him and to have him in our life, keep on following him. And that means confessing as well.
There you go. All right, good morning to you. Let's take a look at some of the top stories. And of course, now the blockade is underway. And what has happened now is, the peace talks fell apart in Pakistan, and the president now has a blockade for ships going in and out of the Straits of Hormuz. But when you got into the red lines as to what was the president trying to deal with Iran, here are the 6 points that they disagreed on. Complete end of uranium enrichment. Iran must dismantle nuclear facilities. The regime must surrender highly enriched material, and there must be a complete halt to support of terrorist proxies such as Hamas and Hezbollah. Iran must reopen the straits without tolls, and Iran must commit a border regional security framework. All 6 of those, Iran said no. And that was now what started the blockade. And the blockade now is seemingly in place. And some of our allies are thinking about maybe getting involved, because guess what the blockade has done? It has impacted the entire world. And it's really impacted China big time, because they were buying oil at a discount. Now they have to pay market prices for it. And will it hold? Will Iran go ahead and take out a ship anyway? I don't know.
So what's next? Do we have another series of peace talks? Or because I think the ceasefire, another week or two?
Well, You mean the ceasefire? Well, the ceasefire, yes. The ceasefire is still in place. I don't know. It certainly has been violated from Iran's standpoint because they're lobbing missiles over into their neighbors. But I think right now it's a wait and see. The president was really upset when tolls were being taken from ships leaving the area, up to $2 million for a ship to leave full of oil. All of that is at a standstill, and I think we wait and see. And the other thing is, will the United States Navy go in with ships that will take the mines out inside the strait? That's yet to be seen. That could happen. If Iran fires on a ship, then the president said that those ships will probably be wiped out. I think we're in a very tense time right now. The problem is oil prices around the world have gone crazy, and this is working against the president's economic plan big time. So we have to wait and see what happens. I don't know.
Can I go back in my box?
Yeah, go back in your box, especially on this story. Eric Swalwell, as you know, was front runner for governor in California. He had some major harassment charges filed against him. I guess just about every woman that worked for him now is filing charges against him, and some of them are really bad.
Yeah.
And guess what? He announced that today he'll be resigning from Congress. Now, here's what's really bad. First of all, this guy's really got problems. Okay, he's bad. But here's what really bothers me about this story. Everybody that has been interviewed in the last 48 hours about Congressman Eric Swalwell knows that he was doing this stuff. And why didn't they say anything?
Why do you think?
Well, on the Democratic side, they couldn't afford to lose him because it's a vote. And on the Republican side, I would say they're somewhat complicit to the problem. If you know the stuff is going on and you are supposedly for women being protected, why aren't you saying anything, especially if the women were out complaining about it and nobody did anything? Now, what's going to happen today is the Democrats are going to lose Swalwell, and the Republicans are going to lose Gonzalez out of Texas. He's being expelled for the same thing.
Right.
And there's 6 other people on the watch list as to whether or not they're going to be expelled. So the problem is that Congress makes up its own even moral rules that you don't touch these things because at the end it has some kind of a political payback. So they left him in office, and he has all these problems, and then it reached a point where it boiled over. And guess what now? Even the Democrats want him so far gone that he's never seen again because he's a distraction.
Well, you mentioned Gonzalez, so these 2 congressmen are going to be resigning, losing their seats because of this immorality issues. And I was listening to a commentary, someone said, well, what's with these congressmen? And I thought, it's not just congressmen, it's human nature. And this is a big problem in our society, sexual sin and what's going on. And I have a feeling maybe that the reason why people don't talk about it in Congress is because every other person may be having similar issues in their life, and why would you be pointing something out that can come back to bite you? Devil is hard at work when it comes to sexual sin. Any sin, but this one really gets to people, and it's a problem. And I feel bad for people who get wrapped up with it because it's a really hard one to fight.
Well, the other thing is, can you say Jeffrey Epstein? Look how messy this is, and we can't get to the bottom of it because everybody's protecting everybody. Republicans alike, Democrats, independents. He's touched everybody, and nobody wants this to be uncovered because of what you just said. The connection back and the ripple effect back is absolutely horrific. And I remember when I was running for Congress 3 times, okay? And the first time I ran, no, I take it back. It was after I lost 3 times. Oops. You know what? Praise the Lord. And I became chairman of the state. And I flew back to Washington, and I was meeting with some of the Republican leaders as chairman of the state. And one of the leaders that I met with was Newt Gingrich at the time, great guy. And we were in these various conference meetings. And I remember this one guy coming up to me and said, did you just get elected? And I said, well, as chairman, not as a congressman. Oh, okay. And I said, why? And he said, well, the first thing you need to do is you need to go to this meeting where they talk about the honey bucket. I go, the honey bucket? He goes, yeah. And he said, "You're a Christian, aren't you?" And I go, "Yes." He said, "Well, it's where they take people of faith and they bring you into a room and they sit you down and they call it the honey bucket, and it's all the sexual temptations of Congress. And they teach you where to look for it and how to be aware of it and to be on the lookout for it."
Wow.
And it's
so
that
that's
bad.
It's not to go over your life. It's to protect you from moving forward.
It's to protect you of where the influences are and how it's connected to immorality and to trap you. And that some people there are there for the sole purpose of getting you into trouble. Some of the staffers are hired just for that, and you don't know that.
Right. But then when the right time comes, they all come out with these allegations.
Yeah, well, look at it.
And I'm not saying these women are that, but it is pretty fascinating how...
Yeah. So I never forgot that, and I thought, "Why, that's real." And I know some people in Washington, and you know some of the people that I know, and it's pretty common. Yes, be aware of the honey bucket in Washington.
But look how many people have been brought down because of this issue.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the Christian world, some of the pastors that used to be very respectful, sadly, come down because of an affair or allegations like this.
And anyway, so Saul was going to be going. All right, so anyway, knock, knock, who's there? McDonald's is making a delivery at the Oval Office today. This is really cute, and this was all done. Here comes a DoorDash delivery grandma. That's what she has on. She knocks on the Oval Office door. She's bringing McDonald's. The president opens up. He ordered a bunch of McDonald's hamburgers and stuff. He was told by his staff, "Make sure you tip her." Now, what this is really all about is no tax on tip day. And,
today? Yesterday.
That was his big deal. So there he is getting a door. He got his McDonald's, and she has a DoorDash grandma on her.
I wonder how many metal detectors she had to go through before she
I don't know.
was able to knock on his door.
This?
He loves his McDonald's.
It really is. So anyway, this is all about no tax on tip days, and so the president orders DoorDash McDonald's, and she brings it in.
Cute.
Wouldn't that be a cute thing to do? Now, come on, tip her. Did he? He's supposed
he
to.
Did. I think he did.
He did tip her.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so there we go. No tax on tips day, DoorDashers. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why McKelly's is automotive service with a heart for God and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond. But that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
Good morning. Welcome back. 22 past the hour. Paulina's here today. It's always a joy to have her. She kind of blends in with all the flowers back there.
You can't see me because of this beautiful background for our gardening day today.
Our gardening day today. Do you like gardening?
I do. I just don't do it as much as I'd like to. But
do you have a favorite flower?
Peonies? I don't know how you say it, but people say it differently. Yeah, that's my favorite one. I don't grow them. I'd ruin them if I tried. I go for simpler ones. But I do love the whole process of, putting the seed in the soil and then watching it bloom. It's beautiful. Good. And when I grew vegetables, that was also satisfying. What about you? Are you a gardener, or are you more of a lawnmower and
Well, I do.
prepper?
I'm not the... I dig holes for Peggy's flowers.
Okay.
Okay.
So you make
she's the one with the flowers. I water them, I fertilize them, I dig holes for them, and I mow lawns.
You're the nurturer of beauty at your
I'm the laborer, yes. Mm-hmm. But she's got the green thumb. She can grow anything, So and the flowers are beautiful.
Yeah, roses. You have beautiful roses.
Yeah, it's the rose. The rose thing was my mother's ingredient. And it worked so well when I gave it to Tim Albert out at Four Seasons. He adopted it for part of his nursery plan. And that is, you always, I think it's on Valentine's Day, somewhere around there, you cut your roses all the way back to the nubs, right down. And then you take a 50-50 mix of Epsom salt and alfalfa meal, and you mix it together and you put it at the base of your roses and you let the rain take it in. I'll guarantee you'll have the prettiest roses on the block. And voila.
I remember hearing this, but it was back before I was doing roses, so I'll have to try it next year.
Okay, yeah, try it next year. All right, some local stories. Our governor had a host of signing of some immigration justice bills, they're calling it, and she did it yesterday. I'll highlight some of these for you. But basically, all of these bills are saying this, that all agencies should be notified when ICE is within smelling distance. I mean, that's basically what's going on here. And you should create policies that alerts people when they're in town, and that refugees and immigrants should have access to everything that everybody else says. I mean, I'm summarizing the 6 bills. But anyway, here's a little bit of the governor talking about this signing episode.
Our immigrant and refugee communities are Oregon communities, and I will always protect their safety and the safety of every person who lives in our state. No one should be afraid to go to work, take their child to school, seek medical care, or anything they need just because of where they have come from. Oregon's and immigrant and refugee communities are vibrant, and they are diverse, and they are citizens and residents and newcomers. And as the federal government wages unlawful and unnecessary attacks on our neighbors, threatening our values and our right to govern ourselves, I will not back down from this fight, and I will stand shoulder to shoulder with everybody who is here today who gave us these bills. We are going to stand together and fight back against the Trump administration.
Okay, so there were a host of bills, House bills, that deals with basic things like how and when school districts and institutions of higher education will respond when a federal immigration authority enters the school property. So she's basically saying to the schools, make your policy up, but what you're going to do if a federal enforcement agency shows up.
She is so misrepresenting the problem. When you hear her talking about citizens and residents. Those people are not targeted by ICE. She did throw in there newcomers. Well, if a newcomer is illegal, then yes, he or she should be targeted. And then she's saying people should be able to go to work without being afraid. Well, if you have a work permit, yes, that should be the case. But if you're illegal here, then I'm sorry, but be afraid. You're breaking the law.
Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bills that she signed. Basically, she's signing these bills that give agencies the right to create a policy to warn their people about ICE being around and then treating people neighborly. I don't know where this is going to go, but there's a reason why she is literally ranked the worst governor in the United States. She's number 50.
Wow.
And if there's ever a time for us to have a Republican governor, at least somebody with some common sense, this would be the time, especially with the gas tax bill being on the ballot, which I think is going to fail. So.
Do you think there is a chance for a switch in government?
Yes, I do. I think the odds have never been higher. Now, she may have, I'm looking at money being raised by the 3 major Republican candidates versus her. Mm-hmm. She's got about $800,000 more than they have at the moment. You know, sometimes those reporting things come and go. But money is certainly a big thing. But if she loses this gas tax, she doesn't have a primary, so she's going to get through the primary just fine. But if the gas tax goes down, this will be hung on her like crazy. Not to mention, she's already raised another $500 million in taxes on us through fees. Mm-hmm. Okay, this, with all due respect, she's the worst economic management governor we've ever had, by far.
And you think that will motivate Republicans to vote? Because even when there is a really bad candidate on the Democratic side, mm-hmm. they still come out and vote. Republicans are sitting it out a lot. Yep. I mean, Oregonians do. You know the numbers. Mm-hmm. It's the turnout is horrible. So even if the governor messes up and doesn't have much of a support, they'll still vote for her.
Yes.
But will Republicans support the candidate?
They better, and let me just bring that home a little bit closer. The numbers have really never changed. Between 49 and 53% of Christians don't vote in this state. Mm-hmm. And Dave Crow and I have done the numbers through the years. Dave is really good at it. That if the Christians that are eligible to vote will register to vote and vote, there isn't any election or measure that we wouldn't control in this state, but we don't vote.
Do we know why?
Do we know why? I can't say that I do, other than apathy. It's kind of like Jesus is coming, why bother? Which is really ludicrous. I don't know. We have one other problem over the top of us. 800,000. The Secretary of State admitted there's 800,000 votes that were cast that were illegal last go around, and we're still purging those from the voter files. That is huge. Mm-hmm. So, but my thing is, if we can turn out in May to stop the gas tax and then keep the motivation to turn out in November, yes, we could elect a Republican governor. And there are 3 running. I've interviewed 2. I'm going to interview the 3rd one this week. I would say they would all be a refreshing change. I think there's one that's more experienced than the other. But the point being is, if there's ever a crack in the concrete, this is it. So one other quick story is, before I get out of here, is the incoming storm. The Weather Bureau is saying snow and wind gusts in the Cascades starting tonight through Thursday could produce a lot of snow, 12 to 20 inches. So this incoming storm, if you're in the Cascades area in the eastern part of the state, get ready for some winter activity. So those are some of the top stories, and let's take a look at the satellite image as to what's going on out there, and you can see it coming. And that system offshore will work its way in, and we will see that weather impact starting late today, tomorrow, but through Thursday, and should give us some more showers. But as we get into the weekend, things look nice again, so it kind of comes and goes. There you go.
Well, last week, First Lady Melania Trump surprised the world when she came out and made a statement denying her ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. On American Agenda, attorney Gloria Allred said that if the First Lady were to testify before Congress, that would be inspiring for Epstein victims.
And I think it would be important that Melania also come in and testify as Hillary Clinton did.
So you think Melania then should come in and testify?
Well, absolutely, because she wants to clear her name.
Right.
And, you know, she gave the press conference. She seemed very, very strong in her denial. And I kind of feel that it's been bubbling up in her in a long
You could
time,
tell.
and feeling that she has been defamed, and feeling that she has been mistreated, mischaracterized. And so she had the courage yesterday to come before the cameras, say what she had to say, that she never witnessed any sex crimes, that she never had any real relationship with Epstein, except at parties, in the same social circle. So I think, you know, she should come to the committee, and that would be really inspiring to the other survivors that she's there.
The ultimate in transparency and really setting the tone.
What did you think of that when she came out?
I was surprised because the story was not in the headlines, and people are saying, you know, Jeffrey Epstein was in the headlines, then her husband put it away, said there's nothing there to see, there are no victims, no perpetrators, it's done. We've shown what we have, moving on. Iran is now in the headlines. And then the First Lady comes out and starts defending herself. It's almost like, why are you bringing it back in the headlines? Some people are saying she's just being proactive because she knows of some of the allegations that are circulating. But I thought it was strange, especially coming from her being married to Trump, who said there's nothing there to see. Let's leave the story alone, and how the administration has been trying to bury it. What did you think?
Well, I was surprised. I've never seen a First Lady come out and do that. I've never seen a First Lady that stern. There was a couple of lines in her speech that was interesting. My attorneys. She certainly referenced me and my attorneys, plural, like she's got this law firm behind her, which she probably does. I'm also, to your point, I was wondering, was this... She actually said that victims should be given their day in court. She did say that in her speech, which is contrary to her husband's stance. But I'm wondering if this is a restart of the issue, because former Attorney General Pam Bondi was non-delivering on this. She's out. And was this the reason she went out, or were there other things? You know, it's probably because there was a lot of talk about things but no indictments. But on this case, it kind of got pushed over and heavily redacted. But the point being is, I'm wondering if this now restarts the case and puts it back into the limelight. Even Alan Dershowitz says, get it on the table, let's get it out there, let the chips fall where they may. And I don't know why we're not doing that, especially with Swalwell and Gonzalez and all these other things going on.
Yeah.
You know, kind of weird.
Yeah, and you know, in the absence of transparency, people tend to fill in the blanks and speculate, and that's where theories start coming up, and that's where we get all into this, well, what's in there? Is Trump implicated? Is his family implicated? Let it, you know, tell us, unless you don't want to.
It's gonna come out sooner or later. All right. That's it. That's why we have her here today. It's nice. No, I appreciated that, because you give a good perspective on that. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us, and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house. We chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. Oh, shine.
All right, welcome back. 22 minutes before the hour. Polina with me today and tomorrow, and always a joy to have her around because people perk when you're here. Anyway, let's check in with CBN News. Our good friend Gary Lane with CBN News giving us an update of the blockade there at the Strait of Hormuz.
The U.S. Navy has just put a blockade in place around Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. That means American warships are now controlling what goes in and out of the world's busiest waterways. While ships are allowed to transit other non-Iranian ports, the Iranian regime is threatening to respond by striking the ports of its Arab neighbors. All of this is happening right after U.S. and Iranian negotiators failed to reach a deal in Islamabad over the weekend. Joining us to provide some insights on how people in Iran are viewing these latest developments is the founder and president of Iran Alive Ministries, Hormoz Shariat. Hormoz, thank you for joining us again. So what are you hearing from people inside Iran about the failed talks and Trump's ordered blockade in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, the people of Iran, number one, they want the change of regime. So anything that helps them to stay, they're against it. When negotiations started, people of Iran, they were hopeless, they were depressed. No, Trump, don't talk to them. They're liars, they're deceivers. Even if they come to an agreement, they're not going to ever follow that. So when it was canceled, people got some hope. They were happy. That's how they feel. They have hope that this war will bring down the government and set the hostages free. Because the people of Iran, they feel they're hostages. And the attack of Israel and U.S., these are not a military attack. These are liberation armies. This is how Iranians feel.
Well, if Iran responds violently, Trump has again threatened to blow up bridges, power and energy facilities, and that would cripple transportation, put many Iranians in the dark without electricity. How would they respond to that?
They're aware of that. They are saying, we are ready to pay a price. It has been bad, but the price we pay is better than this government stay, kill tens of thousands of us, arrest and execute us forever. For so many years it has been and will be. So many of people of Iran, they say, we know we're going to suffer, but we are willing to suffer only if this war ends this government, brings down this government. Otherwise, it's useless. So people know they have to pay a price, and they calculate. They say, we're paying a price, but it's going to be lower than if this government stays. If this government stays, we're going to have a miserable life, no finances, violence, killing forever to come. So they're calculating.
Well, Vice President J.D. Vance led the U.S. team in the Islamabad talks over the weekend. They negotiated with the Iranians for 21 hours. The Americans say the Iranians were making demands and offering no concessions. The Iranians say a deal was close to being worked with U.S. negotiators, but the U.S. sabotaged those talks. So can the Iranian regime be trusted? Is it telling the truth?
Not at all. And the government and the people of Iran know that. I think Netanyahu knows that very well, and maybe Vance also. So they have proven that. They came to an agreement with President Obama, and they got the sanctions lifted. They got money. What did they do? They used the money for terrorism. They didn't follow through with their commitment. They got the $150 billion to support terrorism. And by the way, they promised not to pursue nuclear bomb. But with that $150 billion that Obama gave them, they had Fardo. That's an underground nuclear site. So they cannot be trusted. In Islam, deceiving and lying for the cause of Islam is mandated by Allah and Quran.
Well, I can't let you go without asking you about President Trump's recent words of criticism Regarding Pope Leo's remarks about the fighting, Trump said the Pope is weak on crime. He doesn't want a Pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And then Pope Leo responded, suggesting that President Trump doesn't understand the gospel. He mentioned Jesus' statement, "Blessed are the peacemakers." So as Christians, you and I, Hormoz, know there's a bigger battle going on here. We know the only one who can truly bring peace to our lives is Jesus Christ. Share your thoughts. What's happening here spiritually?
Well, spiritually in Iran, it's an open heaven in Iran, not like anywhere in the world. The Iranian people are free from the spirit of Islam. They are free from the fear of Allah. They're looking around. They're very open to the gospel. And that's why Iran has the fastest growing evangelical population in the world. That's why we get such a great number, thousands of salvations per month, even by Iran Alive Ministries. And some people ask me, how do you get such high number? I said, well, God has worked and opened the heavens, opened the hearts of the Iranians. And another factor, we have an agent inside Iran who helps us. They said, really? Who is that? I said, the Ayatollahs. They help the message of the gospel by showing the true face of Islam. So Iranians are open, and even in the midst of all this suffering, we see salvations, we see signs and wonders and miracles happening. God is at work in Iran. Why? Because he has promised in Jeremiah 49:38 that he will establish his throne in Elam. So we are moving in that direction. We know the end result, and God's Spirit is working in the midst of all this suffering. Iranians are being saved.
Yes, we even have a bigger agent than the Ayatollah, and that's the Holy Spirit. Okay, moving those people's hearts. Hormoz Shariat, Iran Alive Ministries. Thank you for joining us, Hormoz. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Wow, good stuff. Well, I don't know. How long is this going to go on, this war? Do you have any idea?
No, well...
What's inside the Polina crystal ball?
Don't go there. Polina's crystal ball is still trying to figure out why we're in it. So, yeah. I'm not even thinking about why and where and how we're going to end it. So let's take a look at the weather and see if that's more positive than everything
let's
else.
do that.
Here's our forecast from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, rain after late morning with highs in the mid-50s. Breezy south winds increase 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting higher with steady afternoon rain and cooler temperatures. Moving down the Willamette Valley with showers mainly in the afternoon with a south wind gusting up to 23 miles per hour. Daytime highs will be in the mid-50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene. Partly sunny skies today across central Oregon with daytime high temperatures near 59 in Prineville and low to mid-50s for Bend and Sun River. Patchy fog in Boise, Idaho, then mostly sunny in upper 50s. Along the Oregon coast, showers likely in mid-50s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, a chance of showers in low 50s in Brookings, and partly sunny with a high near 55 in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, partly sunny in Grants Pass and Medford with highs in the low 60s. Increasing clouds in Ashland and in Klamath Falls with daytime highs in the upper 50s and showers moving in overnight. Into northern California with clearing skies and a high in the low 60s in Wairika. Sunny to mostly sunny from Redding down through Chico and Sacramento with high temperatures in the upper 60s. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then sunny in upper 60s in Santa Rosa and near 66 in Napa. Sunny in San Francisco with a high in the mid-60s. And in San Jose, patchy fog before 9 a.m., then sunny in upper 60s. It's a look at your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Look at that sunrise this morning. Isn't that beautiful? All right, that's from the top of Roxy Ann, or actually, well, Mount Baldy we call it, and that's looking directly northeast. So you can't see it because the sun ray is blinding it out, but just to the left of that would be Mount McLaughlin.
Wow.
But you can't see it this way. Isn't that pretty?
It is very pretty.
Yeah, good stuff all the way around.
All right, well, looking back at our history, on this day, April 14th, in 1828, Noah Webster registered the copyright for an American Dictionary of English Language, and you've seen it. the Webster Dictionary.
Right.
It helped define American English, separating it from British spelling. A lot of the words there were spelled the American way: color, center, defense, things like that. It took Webster over 25 years to complete, mostly working alone, and it included over 70,000 words, far more than most dictionaries at the time. And the interesting thing about it, he was a Christian, so a lot of the definitions that were included in the dictionary were faith-based. So, for example, marriage is defined as union ordained by God between a man and a woman. Education is described not as just intellectual, but moral and religious formation. There's sin, grace, religion, heaven and hell. So all those definitions were part of the dictionary. And you've probably seen these days, it's Merriam-Webster. And that's because when Webster died in 1843, the rights to his dictionary were purchased by the Merriam brothers, who continued revising and publishing it. And over time, the name was added to reflect both Webster, the original creator, and the Merriam as the publisher. So hence the Merriam-Webster Dictionary.
I have a copy of the 1828 dictionary in my library at home.
Really?
Yeah, it was redone during a series of publications about 20 years ago, and I remember seeing it, and I grabbed it, and I have it in my library at home.
Look at some of the definitions. I was just reading through some of them, and it's really interesting how things have changed.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
All right, well, listen, I can't say enough about Samaritan's Purse. They're one of the great organizations out there, humanitarian relief. They're just all over the place doing all kinds of things. And they're still in Wisconsin. If you remember back when the big floods occurred, Samaritan's Purse is still there doing work. And here's a little bit of an update.
In the middle of August in Milwaukee, there were inches of rain that fell all at once. It was kind of one of those, we didn't see it coming, floods. And so the water came, and it came fast. Flooded basements, it flooded culverts, it put rain in the streets, there was feet of water in parking lots, and this affected hundreds and hundreds of homeowners in the Milwaukee area.
The Lighthouse Church program is an incredible partnership with local churches all across the country. And it is a huge part of how we're able to respond quickly to communities, and we're able to bring the gospel in times of need.
Elmbrook Church is a Lighthouse Church for Samaritan's Purse. We house a DRV, a disaster relief vehicle, at the church property for Samaritan's Purse that gets deployed throughout the Midwest and has been as far south as Florida.
We've been working on homes that still have sustained damage from the August floods. And so we have come to provide that help. A lot of them have said that they've felt forgotten. And so when we called them to say we could help, it was a relief.
So Lighthouse Church is a church that is partnering with Samaritan's Purse in ministry, specifically in disaster relief. And so these are our churches that are sending volunteers at least once a year to come and serve with us, churches that host our disaster responses, and churches that host our DRVs.
And so we've been taking out drywall, we've been removing personal belongings that have been damaged, and more importantly, and first of all, we are just coming alongside the homeowners to show them the love of Jesus.
All of these are strategically located to quickly respond when we need them, but also they're in places and churches that are going to use them effectively for ministry in their communities.
The partnership with Samaritan's Purse that Elmbrook Church has had over 20 years has really fostered the growth of a ministry that is organic here in the Milwaukee area.
So Samaritan's Purse has over 70 of these DRVs, disaster response vehicles, and they're with partner churches all across the country.
We just weren't able, you guys were a lifesaver to us.
Well, I believe God's design for outreach starts with the local church, right? It starts with our individual families, but God is using the local church to reach out into the community, to draw people into a relationship with Him for discipleship and training. And so partnering with the local church is kind of a no-brainer. That's exactly where we need to be. That's the support we need to bring so that the gospel's going out and people are being discipled well.
Well, listen, I can't say enough about Samaritan's Purse. Wherever they go, it's first class in what they do and the services they provide. And if you're in a season of life where you're looking for something to do, get a hold of Samaritan's Purse. They'll train you. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
Over time, every wall tells a story, but sometimes those stories need a fresh start. At Chris Silva Painting, we specialize in transforming indoor spaces, whether it's your family home or your business workspace. With premium paints, flexible scheduling, and expert attention to detail, we make the process simple and stress-free so you can focus on what matters most, living and working in a space you love. From bold new colors to subtle tones of sophistication, let Chris Silva Painting bring your vision to life, one wall at a time. Chris and his crew are courteous. They're efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960. 541-890-3960.
The Dove is shining with a brand new show, Season to Shine.
I'm Melinda Robertson, host of Season to Shine, a new heartfelt, inspiring program for women designed to bring encouragement, wisdom, and hope into your everyday life. We'll help you discover God's purpose in every season, empowering you to shine with confidence, faith, and joy. It's your season to shine. Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 4 p.m. on the Dove TV. More at thedove.us.
All right, welcome back. Yesterday, Paulina had me talk to Chris Salcido, quite a guy, and he's very involved in the Hispanic community. But anyway, I asked him about what he thought of the president's action in Iran, and in particular the blockade, and here's what he had to say.
I think I support the president's actions in Iran. I think that past presidents should have taken the Iranian threat seriously. They should never have been allowed to reach the nuclear threshold, nor develop intercontinental ballistic missile technology to deliver nuclear payloads, much less develop nuclear fissile material to weapons grade. So the president saw a red line. He has been saying that he doesn't believe the Iranians should have a nuclear weapon since the 1980s. He is perfectly consistent. It has been Washington that has been inconsistent, and as it typically does these days, turning its back on our people. A blockade tells all of the countries out there that are doing business with Iran, some of them are allegedly our friends. It says, well, you're not going to be allowed to go get to support the Iranian regime, the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, any longer. And if you want reliable energy, you may have to go to a place called the United States and get your energy. Do long-term contracts with the United States. That'll, of course, benefit the entire Western alliance. And if you're China, it's a big problem for you. And if you're Mother Russia, it's a big problem for you. But the president, I think the Iranians walked right into what President Trump's long-term objective has been. A, no nuclear weapon for Iran, but B, also weaning off Europe's predisposition to support terrorists and thugs and communists.
All right.
He's got an opinion.
You got it right. All right, take with you Mark 12:30. Love the Lord your God with 10% of your heart, 3% of your soul, and 2% of your mind, and 8% of your strength.
And that's which version?
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegateRV.com.
Mornings on the Dove covers issues affecting you. Good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. There always is. We'll give you some recaps of the top stories of the day.
But we also take the time to have some fun and laugh.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
Well, that's pretty wise. And these days, we all need encouragement. Count on Mornings on the Dove to deliver just that from God's Word.
God is faithful.
You go by faith and facts or feelings, along with the day's forecast and interesting stories from Jerry's historical archives.
Change the business of sports forever. was being paid a staggering $25,000 a year.
So start your day with encouragement and information.
93% of Americans want voter ID. Join us for Mornings on the Dove. Weekdays on the Dove TV, radio, and streaming live at thedove.us, Roku, and Apple TV.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon.
Hi, I'm Ryan Robertson, host of a brand new program on the Dove, Ministries on the Move. Ministries on the Move spotlights the incredible work of how God is using everyday people and organizations, putting their faith into action, serving the hurting, strengthening families, and sharing the hope of the gospel in practical ways. Be inspired and discover these Ministries on the Move. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m., right here on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us.
Focus Today, focusing on issues affecting you. Join Perry Atkinson weekdays only on the Dove TV. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. And look who we have. Paulina's with us today. Thank you. Good to see you.
Welcome.
Wow.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, well, it's a joy to have you. She's here for a couple of days. Jerry's away. And always.
Some things haven't changed. I see a lot of sugar over there.
Well, that's the whole name of the game.
Like, what's up with that?
What's up with that? It's called the Dove Kitchen, and anything goes.
It's pretty. I mean, the kitchen is pretty, and all those sugary things are really colorful.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit. You need to try it. Now, you're a baker. You need to try a little bit of that lemon cake over there. Peggy made that.
Lemon cake? Oh,
yeah, Peggy made that, and so she sent half over.
I'll have to try it.
You have to try it.
It's my bright week after Easter. Anything goes. No fasting, nothing. So lemon cake, here I come.
There you go.
Thank you, Peggy.
All right, check that out. Anyway, good morning to you. A lot in the news, there always is. Paulina's here to help me, kind of
ask you questions.
Well, I don't know, just deal with it, you know. And the weather-wise, well, a little bit of a change out there. We'll talk about that. But otherwise, what's special today?
Well, it's gardening day. So if you've been planning and thinking about starting a garden, today is the day. Grab a shovel, grab a, what's that other thing, the little thing that you use to dig, whatever.
Yeah.
Grab your tools.
Yeah, and fertilizer and
seeds
plants.
And fertilizer. And is it too late for roses, so you can still do them?
No, I was at Costco. They have roses. I was out at Tim's. They have beautiful roses. Especially, you ever have a rose tree?
Little bush, yeah.
Tim has those big, at Four Seasons, those big tall rose trees.
Does he still does he have baskets yet or not?
Well, they're in the process.
Okay.
They'll be coming out. They usually pop out about Mother's Day.
They're so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And last year
he's the hanging basket king for Southern Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Okay, so that's gardening day today. Also, it's pecan day, any form and shape, and however you want to dip them in chocolate or in brown sugar, or I've seen them even some spices. People do crazy stuff with pecans, but
big pies out of them.
Yeah, pies. Even though it's not Thanksgiving, but pecan pie is always good. So much you can eat of it, though, right? It's so rich. Or are you a pecan pie or not so much?
Yeah, it's okay. It's not my favorite, but it's good.
But you'll eat it if it was in front of you? Okay. So yeah, celebrate that, pecan pie, gardening, and look at the sky. Today is National Look at the Sky Day. You know, it's a good reminder to admire the beauty around us.
Yes.
Simple things, sky, trees.
You ever go outside at night and look up?
I live in this, in the city, so a lot of the time it's the lights. You can really see the starry nights.
Yeah.
But still, the darkness, the depth.
I was thinking of the astronauts, what they saw in the last 10 days. In outer space, they saw the moon, and then they're on the backside of the moon where they saw the Earth. Can you imagine seeing that?
Well,
and the galaxies and the sun.
No, I can't. It's hard to imagine what it would be like to be in space and to see all that.
Yeah.
But we get to see it here on Earth.
There we go.
It's beautiful.
Our little patch.
Don't get me started on these space missions.
Okay. You don't like it?
No, it's not that I don't like it. I don't trust everything I see.
Oh, okay.
I'm in that camp.
Well, it's just amazing. That you go up there and you go around, you come back, and boy. All right. Good morning to you. Well, let's check out the weather. Let's see what the weather people say on Earth.
Here's our forecast from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, rain after late morning with highs in the mid-50s. Breezy south winds increase 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting higher with steady afternoon rain and cooler temperatures. Moving down the Willamette Valley with showers mainly in the afternoon with a south wind gusting up to 23 miles per hour. Daytime highs will be in the mid-50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene. Partly sunny skies today across central Oregon with daytime high temperatures near 59 in Prineville and low to mid-50s for Bend and Sun River. Patchy fog in Boise, Idaho, then mostly sunny in upper 50s. Along the Oregon coast, showers likely in mid-50s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, a chance of showers in low 50s in Brookings, and partly sunny with a high near 55 in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, partly sunny in Grants Pass and Medford with highs in the low 60s. Increasing clouds in Ashland and in Klamath Falls with daytime highs in the upper 50s and showers moving in overnight. Into northern California with clearing skies and a high in the low 60s in Wairika. Sunny to mostly sunny from Redding down through Chico and Sacramento with high temperatures in the upper 60s. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then sunny in upper 60s in Santa Rosa and near 66 in Napa. Sunny in San Francisco with a high in the mid-60s. And in San Jose, patchy fog before 9 a.m., then sunny in upper 60s. It's a look at your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Well, there's that sunrise again. Actually, now what's happening, the sun is rising above the cloud layer out there, so just about ready to go away.
This is your reminder to look at the sky today.
Yeah.
It is beautiful.
That's a beautiful sun.
But we do have a storm coming.
Yes, we do. And there's a little bit of a warning on that. I'll give that to you later. But the Cascades could see some heavy snow.
Yeah. Do you have enemies?
Enemies?
Mm-hmm. We all do.
Well, yes, that's the right answer.
Yes.
Yes.
And if not, in incarnated version, the spiritual warfare is real. And Pastor Greg Laurie gives us the keys to overcoming the enemy.
But he tempts us, and then he accuses us for being tempted, right? How do you overcome him? We just read about it in verse 11 there in Revelation. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. So let's say that you gave into that temptation, at least mentally. You entertained it, you took it for a test drive, and then you realize this is wrong, this is sinful, God, I'm sorry, forgive me. The devil will say, don't go to God and say you're sorry. God's not going to hear your prayer. You're a hypocrite. Okay, listen, I can go to God anytime because Christ died for my sin and has given me access. Satan is always going to use your sins in a hateful and condemning way to drive you from the cross. The Holy Spirit will convict you of your sins in a loving way to bring you to the cross. Anything that drives you from the cross is from the devil. Don't listen to it. I can go to Christ right now. I can be forgiven. Yes, I sin, but I repent of that sin and I ask you to forgive me. That's how you overcome Satan, by the blood of the Lamb. Apply it in your life.
Yeah.
And it never ends.
Never ends. Temptations are new every morning.
Yeah.
And so are his blessings. It's which one you're going to follow.
And don't stop fighting.
There you go.
Till the end.
All right. Good morning to you. All right. Let's take a look at some of the top stories. And as you know by now, the blockade is under effect there in the Straits of Hormuz. All of this came from Pakistan, where the talks came together and they broke apart. And they primarily broke apart over the nuclear deal. And I guess they were proceeding pretty good. And they get up to the nuclear subject and all that stops. And the president used that as, said, no, we're not doing this. And they all left. Well, here's the deal. There were 6 points to the nuclear part of the agreement that Iran refused to do. One is a complete end of the uranium enrichment. Iran must dismantle the nuclear facilities. They must surrender the highly enriched material. They must be a complete halt of support of the terrorist proxies. They must reopen the Straits of Hormuz without tolls and must commit to a broader regional security framework. And Iran said no to all of those points. So that now put in motion the blockade of the Straits of Hormuz. Primarily, our Navy is stopping all ships from coming and going. This is kind of interesting. I don't know where this is going to go. The last I heard that they're thinking about sending some mine sweepers through the straits. I don't even know how those things work, but it's a ship that goes out and dismantles the mines that are below the surface of the water. So.
You asked me last hour when this is going to end. What's your prediction for the timeline coming up?
Well, I don't know if it's a prediction. I think the president now is under a lot of pressure to get this oil prices down because it's impacting everything and everybody in the United States. Now, I question this because supposedly we are energy independent, so why are our prices high? We haven't got a drop from Hormuz. We don't need any oil from over there, and we're diverting ships from leaving the straits and come to the United States to fill up with oil. So why are our oil prices high? I don't understand that. It doesn't pass the smell test with me.
We're drilling now, right?
We're doing everything, and we got oil, and we're selling it to other countries. Why are our prices high? Something's wrong with this equation. The president's got to get this thing completed, get these prices down. He's running out of time because inflation now is starting to go up, and that is the economic killer. So I think he's under a lot of pressure to fix the problem that he caused. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that what he did was wrong by any means. Iran has to be denuked. They only want nuclear energy for one reason. That's killing people. That's the only reason they want it, is to kill people. So that has to be stopped. But now we're in it. We're in it up to our eyeballs, and we better finish the job and complete it. So what that means, I don't know. But late yesterday, I guess some of our NATO friends are thinking about maybe coming over and helping us with the straits, and I have no idea what that means, you know.
No.
But
yeah.
He's got a chokehold on China with this, which is kind of interesting. It's the key to their economy, and that's now being shut down. And that's going to affect the people. So I don't know. This is very, very complicated. I don't know. I can't say that. I do know this, that if he wants to win midterm elections, he's got to get this oil down real fast. Mm-hmm. You know, or it's going to spill over and be pretty messy on him. So.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. All right, the other story is that an embarrassing one. As you know, Eric Swalwell, who was a Democrat in Congress, was the leading candidate to run for governor in the state of California. Well, he got brought up on some very bad assault charges and harassment charges by women that he's worked with through the years, and now he pulled out of the governor's race, and then late yesterday he said he'll be pulling out of Congress. And so he'll be leaving Congress, and Gonzalez from Texas will be leaving Congress. So you have a Democrat and a Republican leaving Congress probably today or tomorrow, mm-hmm. and that still keeps the numbers pretty much where they were. Whoa, had a chair fall over. That pretty much tells the story of where things are. So, but this guy really he is really bad. And I tell you what really upsets me about this story. Now everybody's talking about him. They knew it all along. Mm-hmm. Wow, really? You knew about it and you didn't say anything?
Yeah.
Women are being harmed, and you didn't say anything? What's wrong with this story? I mean, you're talking Democrats and Republicans. And now he's an embarrassment to the Democrats, and they just want him out of town. But if everybody knew about this and nobody said anything, what a bunch of hypocrites.
Well, and it tells you that there are how many are out there right now who are doing similar things and no one is saying anything.
Exactly.
They're covering up for each other.
Well, can you say Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, it's just an ongoing problem in that swamp.
It is. It's really, really bad, and it's well known in Washington that these problems exist.
And people, I mean, some people fall for it because of just who they are, and maybe that was their lifestyle to begin with. But then some people are set up and trapped, tempted on purpose. You were sharing last hour how that's a machine that's operating in the D.C. as well.
Well, the honey bucket, they call it. And you know what's also interesting to me is that they know this stuff goes on. They don't do anything about it until it gets to this level, and then they want it completely gone. But, you know, folks, there's another lesson here. This is so evident of how the devil works. He lets you get away with things. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And nothing happens. And then you do it again. And nothing happens. And all of a sudden you realize you think you're above it. And then all of a sudden he pulls the rug out from underneath you.
Either that, or if you're a Christian, what also happens is that you feel so defeated, so dirty, so bad, that there is no hope to fight it because you've done it again and again and again. And I mean, it destroys your spiritual life. It destroys your inside, your heart. And it's really hard to climb out of it.
Well, that's what Doug Gould and Stephanie Mendenhall do with their ministries. They get people that are at that level, that they feel dirty about themselves and they don't want to do, they don't know what to do. They're literally in over their head. They don't know what to do. Part of the recovery of addiction is not only stopping from whatever it is you're addicted to, but it's regaining your dignity and your self-worth as a result of that. And boy, those are long roads, you know. But what you have here is something, look, there's an old saying is you don't break God's laws break you. Covenant keepers win. Covenant breakers lose. And if you had a guy that's constantly breaking his covenant with his wife, it's a matter of time he's going to get caught. All sin, sooner or later, is exposed. All sin is exposed. And I don't know why that doesn't send a chill down our back of reverential fear, and yet also a great comfort to us that we have been forgiven. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But what a mess. What a mess. So, you know how you overcome that?
McDonald's.
You get a DoorDash McDonald's delivery, but this one is really good. It actually goes to the Oval Office. Look at this.
DoorDash Grandma.
DoorDash Grandma. She knocks on the door of the Oval Office, and the president comes out, and she has 2 bags of McDonald's.
Sharon Simmons is the name of this lady who delivered McDonald's to Donald Trump yesterday, and she did get a $100 tip from him. You're saying that was kind of to commemorate this whole no tax on tips.
Well, all this is about no tax on tips, yeah.
2 bags of McDonald's, $100 tip. I'm trying to find out what was in those bags. I mean, I'm assuming his favorites, but what are they? So.
Well, I don't know. There's a picture of the president when he was running for re-election before he got sworn in, and he's on Trump Force One or whatever it was. And he had some of his newly appointed people, or the ones he was going to have in his cabinet. One of them was Robert Kennedy Jr. And they're sitting.
Oh, they're all eating fries.
They're all eating McDonald's.
Yeah. The future king of Make America Healthy Again. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Anyway, I thought that was a cute story. You know, what a way of, you know, first of all, he serves McDonald's, and then he goes and he has a DoorDash thing. So, anyway, no tax on tips day. Well, no tax on tips. That's the new thing.
Well, and tomorrow is a tax day, so it's like, ugh.
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to plant a lot of flowers.
Yes.
We'll be right back.
Glory, great things he had done. So loved he the world, he gave us his son.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
This week on the John Ankerberg Show, we'll talk about the brave people that are bringing the gospel of Jesus Christ to their people using audio Bibles.
God is working through these audio Bibles. People hear the Word of God, and God, the Holy Spirit, uses that Word to pierce their heart. I am impressed with how powerful the Word of God is.
Join me for the John Ankerberg Show right here on the Dove TV. It'll be encouraging and informative.
Okay, welcome back. 19 minutes past the hour. Paulina's with me today. Always a joy to have her. She'll be here today and tomorrow because Jerry's away for a couple of days, and she's here. Kind of blends in with all those flowers back there.
I didn't realize that I'll be in the garden today.
You're in the garden there today. All right, good morning to you. A couple of things. Backyard news. Our governor signed 8 immigration bills yesterday. And if you were to summarize all these bills up, and I'm paraphrasing in a big way, they're basically saying to various agencies throughout the state and schools that come up with their own policy that if ICE shows up, how you're going to handle it. Mm-hmm. And she was very proud of that. But here's a little bit of her speech as she was signing these bills.
Our immigrant and refugee communities are Oregon communities, and I will always protect their safety and the safety of every person who lives in our state. No one should be afraid to go to work, take their child to school, seek medical care, or anything they need just because of where they have come from. Oregon's and immigrant and refugee communities are vibrant, and they are diverse, and they are citizens and residents and newcomers. And as the federal government wages unlawful and unnecessary attacks on our neighbors, threatening our values and our right to govern ourselves, I will not back down from this fight, and I will stand shoulder to shoulder with everybody who was here today who gave us these bills. We are going to stand together and fight back against the Trump administration.
Well, I think you made a good observation. What did she say and didn't say there? You know,
they make it sound different than what it really is. Bundle it all into. We all, I think, respect people where they come from, or most people do. We all know that most of us came from somewhere else. We have heritage and ancestors. But some of us here legally and some of us are not.
Yeah.
When you break a law, there are consequences. I don't know why this common sense concept doesn't register with some people. I don't know if it's just blissful ignorance, like, oh, I just want to love everyone, and no matter, I don't know why so many people support this kind of policy.
I'm with you. It's staggering. Why is illegal legal?
Yeah.
It's a conflict. Basically, and I'll just read one of them. This kind of gives you an idea. One of the bills, she said, how a school district or an institution of higher education will respond when a federal immigration authority enters the school property or a campus. In other words, she's telling the education levels out there. Create a policy of what you're going to do if ICE shows up. And you can go on down through here. Increase transparency in law enforcement activities by requiring officers to clearly identify themselves and limiting the use of masks. I mean, all this stuff is right out of the playbook of anti-ICE. Right. And it shows up in 8 bills, House and Senate bills, that she signed into law yesterday. So my concern about all of this is that mindset is still governing Oregon for the most part. And in spite of the fact that she may be the lowest, has the lowest approval rating among governors in the United States, it doesn't mean anything to the legislators who are supporting her and come up with these bills for her to sign.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of crazy.
And yes, a lot of the people who are here illegally will never commit another crime. But those who do, those are pretty horrendous crimes that we hear and see about, that we see and hear about in other states. And when that happens in Oregon, I don't know what she's going to do, because there she stands at the podium saying that she's going to protect Oregonians. But those illegals who are in the country, a lot of them are criminals. Again, not all of them, but for the sake of protecting people that you actually elected to protect, do something about it. And instead of standing there saying that you're just going to fight Trump, which has been a broken record for years. By the way, do you think that will be her campaign this year, fighting Trump, or will there be an actual proposal of new policies?
Oh, good question. She's going to win the primary. She has no opponent in the primary. It has a lot to do with whether or not this gas tax bill. You got to remember that ODOT was out of money, $350 million shortfall in their budget. She tried to correct it with a $4.3 billion tax hike, which is another 6 cents per gallon of gas. And the citizens rose up and fought that and said, no, put it on the ballot. It's going to be on the ballot in May as to whether or not we're going to vote for this gas tax or not. Okay, so if that loses, I think her next 6 months of campaigning will only be anti-Trump, because she does not have a record to run on. It's going to have to be the president is a bad guy, his policies are bad, he's ruining Oregon. We are the first sanctuary state. So no matter who you are and what level you are, or whatever you do, wherever you're from, illegals, you're welcome here. And so she's going to fight President Trump all the way up through November, because she doesn't have a record of that she can run on that would be pro-Oregon.
But I wonder if she has any ideas to run on, of what I'm going to do if I'm reelected.
Well, it'll be more of the same. It'll be more social bend. She's kind of a shadow Mondani, you know. I mean, that sounds rough. Here's the deal. Democrats are socialists. Do we need to say any more than that? So their socialistic mindset is the government has to grow in order to protect the people. The government has to grow in order to deliver to the people what everybody wants. It is the great bait and switch thing we've ever seen in our life. And so the only thing I can say is that if there's ever an opportunity for Oregon to get a Republican governor and start the process of resetting the state, it's this go-around. We have 3 solid Republicans running for governor. I've interviewed 2. The other one I interview, I think, tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? You just lined it up. Thursday. And so we'll talk to all these people. But any of them would make a better governor than she is. But the question is, to your point, will the Republicans show up to vote? Yeah. I don't know.
Do you think I know this is going to be a total segment on its own. Do you think the recent divisions within the MAGA are going to prevent people from going?
I'm not sure if the divisions are there. There's pros and cons in that. I will say this. This is going to come off crazy. The biggest problem, in my opinion, going into this whole election cycle is Trump fatigue.
On both sides? Or
well, Trump hate on the
right.
left.
Okay, Trump fatigue on the Republican side.
On the right. It's wearing people thin.
But I'm wondering also, with his recent comments about the conservative hosts that he attacked last week, you know, Tucker, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones, like them or not, they do pull huge numbers. Millions of people literally watch them every day. Right. And a lot of them were his base. A lot of the people, I'm surprised he didn't attack Joe Rogan yet, but a lot of the people who watched those 4 were MAGA, and I'm not sure if they're going to be MAGA this time around, because he went after something that they care for.
Well, he's still president for 2 more years. So he's not on the ballot, and he doesn't care.
But people, I think people
But they retaliate.
Yeah, they'll sit it out because, well,
they retaliate.
I'm not going to support a candidate who's pro-Trump because he attacked my favorite person.
Right. And look, the words that he used a couple of Sundays ago on Easter Sunday, sorry, Mr. President, that was really bad. And then unnecessarily going after the Pope. Leave it alone. Why in the world did you attack that? Just leave it alone. You know,
that or posting a picture that he posted of him saying he's a doctor, but it's clearly Jesus on Orthodox Easter. You know, these things that you do, you just have to think a little harder, I think.
Well, like I say, I think Trump fatigue is starting to show up. And but think about his position. He doesn't care. He's president no matter what. And even if he loses the House, he has the veto pen.
Do you think he cares about his legacy, though?
Oh, I think he cares deeply about it. And I think that once he gets this war behind him and he gets the celebration of America's 250 going, he'll jump on Air Force One and fly all over the place and do rallies right up through November. So he's going to do everything he can to rescue it, but he could care less about what other people think of him. I mean, that's just his personality.
And that has been forever.
Yeah.
But it feels like you're right. It feels different now.
Yeah, it does. It does. All right, let's take a look at Wall Street for this. What is today? Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, Paulina's here. That's why we're happy. She's all
like Sunday.
The Dow's up 197, good. The Nas is up 203. The S&P up 33. So a little green ink at the ringing of the bell this morning. It's kind of interesting. I thought the Straits issue would be a little bit more negative. It's not. Gold's back up to 48.16. Silver's a little above 78. And look at this. Crude oil's gone from 108 down to 96. Oh, it's heading in the right direction. So there we go.
Is that one of those things you just keep going to? I mean, it can go up tomorrow.
Oh, the whole gas thing is a mystery to me. I've heard all the arguments. It makes no sense to me, so I must be the dumbest guy on the earth because I don't get it, and especially why gas prices are high in America when supposedly we have all the oil that everybody wants. Makes no sense to me.
Join the club. Yeah. All right, well, following the statement, the surprise statement by our First Lady Melania Trump about her defending herself against some kind of allegations that may be coming up in relation to Jeffrey Epstein, now James Comer is saying that Epstein victims will be testifying before Congress. And on Newsmax American Agenda, attorney Gloria Allred shared her thoughts on that.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that that's going to take place. I think it should be that they are invited but not subpoenaed to testify. In other words, not required to testify. Also, they need to be able to tell what happened to them. I don't call it telling their story. I call it telling what happened to them. And they should not be subjected to questions. This is political theater. We know that. That's not a court of law. It's the Wild West. And so let them come in, be treated with respect and dignity, and say what they have to say.
If they choose to speak.
If they choose to, but not be forced to. And by the way, that was the same with the Department of Justice before this administration, where they were interviewed by the FBI, Homeland Security prosecutors and so forth. And they were told that they could be Jane Does if they wished, except if they were a witness in the court of law in someone's case.
Right.
But then they would have the choice as to whether they wished to testify. If they didn't want to, they wouldn't have to.
That makes sense.
That's treating them with respect. So that's the way they need to be treated with the...
Well, okay. Yeah, I agree with her. I don't think they should be subpoenaed. I think they should be given the opportunity to come and tell their story, I would say behind closed doors. And I think they ought to be just that, to tell their story. I don't think they need to drill down on them. But if they're willing to come and tell their story, let it be their story, and that's the end of it. You don't have to drill down on it, you know. But why we haven't done this heretofore, I don't know. And for those who are encouraging the delay of the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, are working the system through statutes of limitations. And that's sad, because that tells me there is a lot of there, and why aren't we talking about it?
Yeah, and whether it's, I don't know, blackmail, people implicated, covering up for each other, we see it in other stories. And I think that's another disappointment that a lot of people who voted for the Trump administration had, is the way it's been handled by several members of the administration, including Pam Bondi and President Trump himself.
Yeah.
Going from, yes, there is a there to, oh, nothing to see.
Yeah.
What are you guys asking me about it?
Yeah. Interesting stuff. All right, we'll take a quick, let's see, what is it?
Pecans.
Pecan. You ever made a pecan pie?
No. It looks too complicated. And why would you make it if you can go and buy it?
Costco. We'll be right back.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
The Life Essentials Interactive Study Bible by Dr. Gene Getz. The first ever multimedia study Bible with QR codes enabling you to view 1,500 videos. Watch on your smartphone, tablet, or computer with Gene Getz teaching Principles to Live By from every book of Scripture. 250 hours of in-depth teaching. Gene Getz has over 60 years of Bible teaching and is a renowned theologian. The Life Essentials Bible is a seminary in a box. Read, watch, apply. Get yours today for your own spiritual growth or as a gift that will minister greatly to your family and friends. Purchase your copy of the Life Essentials Study Bible at Christian bookstores or go to their website, BiblePrinciples.org. and click on Video Search, where you can access all the principles for free. Take your faith deeper. Get your Life Essentials. Study Bible today at Christian bookstores or BiblePrinciples.org.
Today, become a farmer with the Dove. Plant a seed, help it grow.
Your gift reaches someone who needs hope.
Don't wait, join us in this harvest.
Let's grow something eternal together.
Give today at the Dove.
Okay, welcome back. 25 minutes before the hours, we check in with CBN News and all the folks that are doing a great job. Gary Lane today talks about the naval blockade there at the Strait of Hormuz, and let's see what he has to say.
The U.S. Navy has just put a blockade in place around Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. That means American warships are now controlling what goes in and out of the world's busiest waterways. While ships are allowed to transit other non-Iranian ports, the Iranian regime is threatening to respond by striking the ports of its Arab neighbors. All of this is happening right after U.S. and Iranian negotiators failed to reach a deal in Islamabad over the weekend. Joining us to provide some insights on how people in Iran are viewing these latest developments is the founder and president of Iran Alive Ministries, Hormoz Shariat. Hormoz, thank you for joining us again. So what are you hearing from people inside Iran about the failed talks and Trump's ordered blockade in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, the people of Iran, number one, they want the change of regime. So anything that helps them to stay, they're against it. When negotiations started, people of Iran, they were hopeless, they were depressed. No, Trump, don't talk to them. They're liars, they're deceivers. Even if they come to an agreement, they're not going to ever follow that. So when it was canceled, people got some hope. They were happy. That's how they feel. They have hope that this war will bring down the government and set the hostages free. Because the people of Iran, they feel they're hostages. And the attack of Israel and U.S., these are not a military attack. These are liberation armies. This is how Iranians feel.
Well, if Iran responds violently, Trump has again threatened to blow up bridges, power and energy facilities, and that would cripple transportation, put many Iranians in the dark without electricity. How would they respond to that?
They're aware of that. They are saying, we are ready to pay a price. It has been bad, but the price we pay is better than this government stay, kill tens of thousands of us, arrest and execute us forever. For so many years it has been and it will be. So many of people of Iran, they say, we know we're going to suffer, but we are willing to suffer only if this war ends this government, brings down this government. Otherwise, it's useless. So people know they have to pay a price, and they calculate. They say, we're paying a price, but it's going to be lower than if this government stays. If this government stays, we're going to have a miserable life, no finances, violence, killing forever to come. So they're calculating.
Well, Vice President J.D. Vance led the U.S. team in the Islamabad talks over the weekend. They negotiated with the Iranians for 21 hours. The Americans say the Iranians were making demands and offering no concessions. The Iranians say a deal was close to being worked with U.S. negotiators, but the U.S. sabotaged those talks. So can the Iranian regime be trusted? Is it telling the truth?
Not at all. And the government and the people of Iran know that. I think Netanyahu knows that very well, and maybe Vance also. So they have proven that. They came to an agreement with President Obama, and they got the sanctions lifted. They got money. What did they do? They used the money for terrorism. They didn't follow through with their commitment. They got the $150 billion to support terrorism. And by the way, they promised not to pursue nuclear bomb. But with that $150 billion that Obama gave them, they had Fardo. That's an underground nuclear site. So they cannot be trusted. In Islam, deceiving and lying for the cause of Islam is mandated by Allah and Quran.
Well, I can't let you go without asking you about President Trump's recent words of criticism regarding Pope Leo's remarks about the fighting. Trump said the Pope is weak on crime. He doesn't want a Pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And then Pope Leo responded, suggesting that President Trump doesn't understand the gospel. He mentioned Jesus' statement, "Blessed are the peacemakers." So as Christians, you and I, Hormoz, know there's a bigger battle going on here. We know the only one who can truly bring peace to our lives is Jesus Christ. Share your thoughts. What's happening here spiritually?
Well, spiritually in Iran, it's an open heaven in Iran, not like anywhere in the world. The Iranian people are free from the spirit of Islam. They are free from the fear of Allah. They're looking around. They're very open to the gospel. And that's why Iran has the fastest growing evangelical population in the world. That's why we get such a great number, thousands of salvations per month, even by Iran Alive Ministries. And some people ask me, how do you get such high number? I said, well, God has worked and opened the heavens, opened the hearts of the Iranians. And another factor, we have an agent inside Iran who helps us. They said, really? Who is that? I said, the Ayatollahs. They help the message of the gospel by showing the true face of Islam. So Iranians are open, and even in the midst of all this suffering, we see salvations, we see signs and wonders and miracles happening. God is at work in Iran. Why? Because he has promised in Jeremiah 49:38 that he will establish his throne in Elam. So we are moving in that direction. We know the end result, and God's Spirit is working in the midst of all this suffering. Iranians are being saved.
Yes, we even have a bigger agent than the Ayatollah, and that's the Holy Spirit. Okay, moving those people's hearts. Hormoz Shariat, Iran Alive Ministries. Thank you for joining us, Hormoz. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gary.
Yeah, look, it's been said, when we got into China, when China opened up, there was an underground revival in China unlike anything. And then, of course, that's when Hong Kong was still in place. And then when Hong Kong went back to China and all that started to shut down, the underground church went back underground again. Then all of a sudden we realized that there is a major underground revival going on inside Iran, which is kind of interesting. And they're saying that it is as big as what was going on in China. So suppression seemingly is working. But these are people, you got to remember one thing about Iran. Up until about 5 or 6, 7 years ago, the citizens had the internet. And the regime shut it all down. And when they cut the internet, so there's generations inside Iran that know there's another world out there, that there's another way of living out there. There's not only the Western, but everything else. But I never thought I would ever see the day when the protesters were out on the street. I don't know where they are now. They're all hunkered down, for their lives. That you would see the original flag of Iran with the Star of David superimposed over it, and then the Stars and Stripes up in the corner. You go, what? You look at this, you go, really? So when I was talking to some folks from Samaritan's Purse and Franklin Graham's group, they admit also there's a large, growing Christian, I guess, community growing inside Iran. And they think that if Iran is returned to the people, that it could be primarily Christian versus Islam.
Is the Word for You Today there?
No. No, we're in Europe a lot. We're not there, no.
Are you anywhere in the Middle East?
Let me think about that. We are in the Middle East with the audio portion of the Word for You Today, but not the printed portion. And the audio portion is being translated. So this little book, which 248 million people worldwide read this a day. 11 million people read it in China this morning, okay? Now, the audio version of it is getting in through some radio means into the Middle East, and it's translated, so I'm not sure how that goes.
Is the ministry trying to get into new countries, or pretty okay with where you are today?
That's a good question. We're always open to it. The problem is that the countries that want it aren't able to afford it. And we don't make money on it. We just want to cover our cost on it. So we either get sponsors or somebody in those countries create or support themselves. But it's, I'm thinking of, can you imagine this? We started with, in Hungary. We started with one of these that was found in the airport at Buenos Aires. Somebody left it on a chair in Buenos Aires airport. The guy picked it up. He happened to be the pastor of a home church in Hungary. Took it home, and he translated it on a yellow pad and gave it to his congregation. Then he realized, I probably shouldn't do that because it's copyrighted material. Of all people they called, it was the theDove one, and they called me. And I said, with his broken accent, where are you now? Well, he was an engineer. His wife is a doctor, and he was the pastor of a home church too. He said, what do I do with this? So I put him in contact with the main office in Atlanta, okay? Long story short, very long story short, okay? They're now printing 500,000. Went from one in an airport to where they're printing 500,000 in Hungary quarterly.
Wow. Amazing.
It's become his full-time jobs to do it. So,
well, because I was thinking about some countries like, you mentioned China, but what about North Korea?
Yes.
That would be an underground church.
Yes. Yeah. It's
dangerous place.
Well, we were in, you got to remember, we were in Beijing. And I say this respectfully, our interpreter got caught and was killed.
Wow.
Okay? And we got his wife out. And the thing kind of went silent. So we're in China again today, but we're not in the heart of Beijing like we were. And I can't tell you how we get it in there, but 11 million people read it a day, and we know through analytics they share it with 2 other people. So that's possibly 30 million people reading the Word for You Today in China, around Beijing. Pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, so much for that. Let's take a quick look at the weather for you. All right? Did we?
Here's our forecast from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, rain after late morning with highs in the mid-50s. Breezy south winds increase 5 to 15 miles per hour, gusting higher with steady afternoon rain and cooler temperatures. Moving down the Willamette Valley with showers mainly in the afternoon with a south wind gusting up to 23 miles per hour. Daytime highs will be in the mid-50s for Salem, Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene. Partly sunny skies today across central Oregon with daytime high temperatures near 59 in Prineville and low to mid-50s for Bend and Sun River. Patchy fog in Boise, Idaho, then mostly sunny in upper 50s. Along the Oregon coast, showers likely in mid-50s for Coos Bay and Port Orford, a chance of showers in low 50s in Brookings, and partly sunny with a high near 55 in Crescent City, California. In southern Oregon, partly sunny in Grants Pass and Medford with highs in the low 60s. Increasing clouds in Ashland and in Klamath Falls with daytime highs in the upper 50s and showers moving in overnight. Into Northern California with clearing skies and a high in the low 60s in Wairika. Sunny to mostly sunny from Redding down through Chico and Sacramento with high temperatures in the upper 60s. In the Bay Area, early patchy fog, then sunny in upper 60s in Santa Rosa and near 66 in Napa. Sunny in San Francisco with a high in the mid-60s. And in San Jose, patchy fog before 9 a.m., then sunny in upper 60s. It's a look at your Tuesday weather from Grange Co-op.
Beautiful shot of our backyard. It's called the Rogue Valley. We call it home. Nice and green with all the rain. There you go.
Come on over.
All right.
Got room for everyone. All right, well, on this day in 1828, Noah Webster, name probably familiar to you because you've seen it on the cover of the dictionary, he copyrighted his American Dictionary of the English Language. It took him 25 years to complete, mostly working alone, and included about 70,000 words, far more than most dictionaries at a time. What made it different is he learned 26 languages, 26, including Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, to better understand word origins, and he made sure that some of the words spelled differently to differentiate it from the British, like color and things like that. He was a Christian, so a lot of the definitions do include that connotation. Grace is described as free, unmerited favor of God. Heaven and hell described as real spiritual states, not symbolic ideas. Marriage is defined as a union ordained by God between a man and a woman. And it's, you said you have a copy at home.
See that picture?
Yeah.
I have that book
That's
at
the
home.
one?
Yeah.
Well, look at the definitions. I'm sure it would be really interesting to just see 200 years ago almost what was the understanding of some of the terms that have been corrupted since then. And just a side note, a fact that I didn't realize, Noah Webster, when he died in 1843, the rights to his dictionary were purchased by the Merriam brothers. They continued publishing it and eventually added their name to the cover of the dictionary, so now you see Merriam-Webster, and that's where it's coming from. But he was the original author of the dictionary and spent a lot of time working on it.
Wow.
Amazing.
All right. I'm going to go look up pecan. We'll be right back.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegateRV.com.
When life feels heavy, your body feels it, your mind feels it. That is why I created Organic Elements Wellness Spa, a place where wellness is not a luxury, it's a way of life. Step into our wellness lounge with a Himalayan salt room, infrared sauna, steam room, and invigorating cold plunge. Restore your nervous system, detox your body, and clear your mind. Then experience customized massage, advanced skin therapies, and result-driven facials, all designed to help you look as good as you feel. There's nothing else like this in Southern Oregon. This is your space to heal, to reset, to glow. Call today to book your private wellness party for up to 15 guests or surprise someone special with a gift certificate.
Visit Organic Elements Wellness Spa on East Main Street in Medford. Book online at organicelementspa.com. Wellness is wholeness. Voted best of Southern Oregon.
Mornings on the Dove covers issues affecting you.
But we also take the time to have some fun and laugh.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
And these days, we all need encouragement. Count on Mornings on the Dove to deliver just that from God's Word.
Along with the day's forecast and interesting stories from Jerry's historical archives.
So start your day with encouragement and information.
Join us for Mornings on the Dove. Weekdays on the Dove TV, radio, and streaming.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
All right, welcome back. 7 minutes before the top of the hour. Yesterday, I had the honor to have Chris Salcedo back on the program with us, formerly with Fox News. He has his own podcast. It's called something, Salcedo. Chris Salcedo.
Show, probably.
Something show, yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I have
yeah,
it open
anyway, he's quite a guy. We talked about... What is it? Okay.
The Rise of the that's the name of the book, The Rise of the Liberty Loving Latino.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
Anyway, we'll come to that. We talked about what's going on, and in particular, the collapse. Was he surprised by the collapse of the peace talks? And here's what he had to say.
I was not surprised. I'm surprised it lasted 21 hours. I think it was the vice president who emerged and said, yeah, they want to keep nuclear weapons, the very nuclear weapons that so many Iranian defenders, Democrats, say that they don't have aspirations to attain. Why would they be so insistent that they maintain the ability to enrich uranium if they don't want a weapons system, a nuclear weapons system in place? We have a problem with North Korea because the United States relied on communist China to mind their own neighborhood, and we're going to be paying for that for years on end, and continuing to pay for that. We shouldn't repeat the mistakes of the past. Again, I think the president is playing some 4D chess here. The Iranians did, well, they lived up to form, did they not? They want a nuclear weapon. We all know they want well, sane people do, know they want a nuclear weapon. The president knows that their ambition for a nuclear weapon supersedes their devotion to their own people. Of course, they don't regard their own people very, very highly. And the president knew they would go here. And so it gave him a perfect opportunity saying, well, you are so fond of shutting down the Straits of Hormuz, the United States is going to do it right now. And none of your client states will be allowed to get in there to continue to bolster your regime as you continue to export terror and keep your boot on the throats of your own people.
You know.
Chris Salcedo Storm Podcast.
There it is. I knew it had another word in there. Chris Salcedo Storm Podcast. And then he wrote a book about the Latino revival, so to speak, in America. And I'm talking patriotic, moving more to the right than to the left, what's going on in the United States. Good stuff all the way around. Yeah. Well, Megan Barth is going to be with us. I guess she's got a new position. She's now the executive editor of the California Globe, and we'll talk to her about that. So she's an interesting gal to talk to. Mark Little will be with us, and we'll talk to him about whatever Mark wants to talk about.
I was texting with Pastor Mark last night, and I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Yeah. You know, I'm looking at his previous shows. I said, you did a series on the cross, and then you were doing a series on Israel. Where do you want to go? He said, well, Israel could be a little more controversial, though it's biblical. Cross may be more uplifting. I said, hey, executive decision. We're talking about Israel.
Okay.
No, he had some, it's an interesting, and today he dropped his second part of the podcast. So it really is an interesting perspective that he's going to share.
Okay.
Going back to the Old Testament, Babel, Genesis. So I think you'll enjoy that conversation.
I got to read the scripture correctly because last time I got cut off, okay? And that is Mark 12:30. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. Now, I put some percentages in there. I was trying to be cute, but I got cut off. So are you 100% sold out to him? All right. Do that today and have some pecans.
Yes, in peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hey, this is Ed, co-owner of Visiting Angels. To continue to serve our seniors, we need more caregivers with a heart to serve. Our mission statement is honoring the art of giving, which means we honor you, the caregiver. We know it's our people that make Visiting Angels the best in-home care provider and a great place to work. Come be our next amazing caregiver. Give us a call or apply online. At Visiting Angels, we're committed to you because we honor the art of giving.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Now notice when Jesus called his disciples, he never hid from them the fact that to follow him meant suffering, persecution, and death. We have a great deal of what someone has called cheap grace. Easy to follow Christ. Easy to get in the church. In Jesus' day, he called them to suffering. He didn't call them to a playground. He called them to a battlefield. He called them to war, spiritual war. And he said, you're going to suffer, and you're going to be wounded, and you're going to die in my cause. Because the world is going to reject me. This world that's dominated by evil and sin will reject me.
A ministry moment on the Dove.
Jerry, did you know that we're farmers?
Farmers? I knew there was a reason I like overalls.
At the Dove, we plant seeds of hope, truth, and the gospel every day.
And when those seeds land in the right hearts, lives change.
But every harvest needs more hands.
That's where you come in.
Today, become a farmer with the Dove. Plant a seed, help it grow.
Your gift reaches someone who needs hope.
Don't wait, join us in this harvest.
Let's grow something eternal together.
Give today at the Dove.
Important topics, in-depth conversation. Focus Today, weekdays only on the Dove TV, encouraging and informative.
Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson. Always a delight when we have time to sit down with Megan Barth. Megan is an independent journalist, but she also has a new title, and we congratulate her. She's the executive editor of the California Globe, and you can go to thecaliforniaglobe.com. There's a picture of that landing page, and check out the stories there, californiaglobe.com. Megan, congratulations. Good to see you. How are you?
Well, thank you. I'm doing very well. I've been with the California Globe now since September, so it's not as new as you probably think, but...
You've been keeping that from me.
I have.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
A lot to talk about. Well, listen, Eric Swalwell went from being the #1 governor candidate on the Democratic side to he's just out of a job all the way around. What happened here?
Yes, well, he resigned yesterday, and that was a little bit surprising because he had, on a video, denied all of the sexual assault allegations that had come out on late Friday. It was a late Friday document dump of a former staffer who claimed that back in 2019 to 2021, he had sexually assaulted her on numerous occasions when she was, quote unquote, blackout drunk. But these types of allegations have followed Eric Swalwell for years. And it was a well-known secret, according to the media, especially the California media, that they all knew he was a predator. They all knew, including the Democrat Party, including Nancy Pelosi, that he had had multiple affairs outside of his marriage, including with a Chinese spy. And that Chinese spy's name was Christine Fang. And allegedly, she had seduced him and other lawmakers on behalf of the CCP in order to gain information, privileged information. And at the time, Nancy Pelosi, who was Speaker of the House, refused to remove him from this House Intelligence Committee, where he still sat on the House Intelligence Committee up until he resigned over the weekend. So this kind of shows you the attitude of the Democratic Party when it comes to allegations, I should say the hypocritical stance of the Democratic Party when it comes to sexual assault or sexual allegations against a Democratic congressman. All of a sudden, we weren't supposed to believe all women. But when you look at the Kavanaugh trials, for example, and the confirmation, and of course, President Trump, we were supposed to believe all women that came out against Republicans with allegations of sexual assault. So it is a hypocritical stance by the Democratic Party. They originally did not ask him to step down from Congress. They simply asked him to suspend his gubernatorial campaign, because when you look at California's jungle primary system, and what that means is that the two top contenders, no matter if they're Republican or Democrat, the two top contenders who gain the most votes in the primary then advance to the general election. And right now, that's two Republicans. With Eric Swalwell out, that allows Tom Steyer, who's a billionaire, and Katie Porter, who's a nut job, quite frankly, for them to rise in the polls, and then we'll see if they overtake one of the two Republican candidates.
Okay, a lot there. Number one,
yes.
We're hearing now that a lot of people, not just Democrats, but a lot of people knew that Swalwell was not a good person.
A pig.
And nobody blew the whistle on him. What does that say about Congress as a whole? How much of a trap, even the Republicans, I mean, I watched former Speaker talk about, well, we all knew he was doing this. Well, where's your moral guts to stand up and say this is wrong? What's going on?
The swamp protects its own. You know, we have been told for years, I think I was on your show, I don't know, 7 years ago now, talking about how there is a congressional taxpayer-funded slush fund specifically designed to be used to provide cover for those congressmen or women that have had sexual assault allegations levied against them. And they can use that, I guess, for their own personal discretion to cover up the allegations and perhaps fight the allegations.
Okay. Secondly, so the Democrats are going to lose one. Republicans lose one in Gonzales today, too. So it's a tit for tat.
What does that show you?
Yeah.
It's all politically designed. It was like, you know, the Democrats probably made a deal with the Republicans, and the Democrats said, hey, if we demand the expulsion of Swalwell or convince Swalwell to suspend not only his campaign, but his congressional position by stepping down, you're going to give us Gonzales. That's what it feels like to me. Of course, that's not confirmed, but just knowing how the Beltway works, that's what it sounds like. Quid pro quo. We give you one, you give us one.
All right, so back to California. He's out. He was the leading candidate. He's out. But even when he was the leading candidate, of all the Democrats running on the California ticket, they still didn't get the endorsement of the California Democratic Party. None of them got it.
No, actually, I wrote about this at the time when the California Democratic Party had their annual meeting in California. The head of the Democratic Party and other Democratic leaders begged one of their 10, I believe it is, Democratic candidates to at least step down, and asked numerous just to thin the herd in order so the ticket wasn't so split. So again, this tells you the Democrats don't care about sexual assault allegations. They've proven that time and time again, of course, unless the sexual assault allegations are against a Republican. They only care about the sexual assault allegations if it's a Democrat, because it will impact their power.
Okay, yeah. All right, so what's left? Yeah, maybe a couple more will go up. Maybe all the remaining 11 or 12 go up, and that just splits the vote. So it looks like we're heading in, as crazy as California is, being an open primary state to where you end up with 2 candidates in May running off in November. Isn't it something that right now it looks like it's going to be the 2 Republicans?
Yeah, there's Sheriff Chad Bianco, who it depends on what polls you look at, of course, but the 2 leading contenders are Sheriff Chad Bianco, and he's the Riverside County Sheriff, and then you have Steve Hilton, who has been campaigning and has earned the endorsement of President Trump. So those are the 2 leading Republican contenders. They both have double-digit support. And then you had Eric Swalwell, who now has been knocked out of 3rd place. And it's kind of a tie right now between Katie Porter and Tom Steyer, the billionaire.
All right, we'll see how it plays out. So Swalwell's out. Gonzalez is out. The numbers stay the same in the House. We'll see what happens. Kind of crazy. I do want to kind of move over a little bit in this topic with the First Lady and her frustration being accused of all kinds of things, Epstein, and she does a 5-minute speech to the nation. We've never seen this before. She was extremely stern, and she used a term in her speech, I think 3 times, my lawyers, plural. First of all, what did you think of the speech? And secondly, where does this lead?
Well, I was simply shell-shocked by it. I didn't know why at this moment in time it was so important for her to come out with a public statement, especially a lengthy statement. But what's interesting is that the fallout after her speech, and where kind of Democrats were scurrying and running the other way. You know, Epstein was involved in sex trafficking for decades. This goes back to the Clinton administration, if not before. The Democrats have known about Epstein, much like they knew about Eric Swalwell, for years, and they did nothing. Now President Trump comes along. He campaigns on releasing the Epstein files. He releases millions and millions of pages of the Epstein files, which many of them are redacted. And the reasons for the redactions, as we know now, are that many of the victims did not want to be named. And so you are going to have many people that are caught up. And one thing that concerns me about the Epstein files is that every single person that interacted with Epstein was not a sexual predator, was not a pedophile.
Right.
But now that he is really associated as being a pedophile, everyone around him is being falsely accused or falsely associated. He was involved in international affairs. He was involved in domestic affairs with politicians, very wealthy people, very famous people. Doesn't mean that all of those people are pedophiles.
Okay, so the president's called for full release. I had Alan Dershowitz on several times. He calls for full release. Melania says, let the victims have their day before the committee.
Right.
What do you think's going to happen?
Well, I think this is going to play out, but it's going to continue to be used as a weapon against the Republican Party by the Democrats. You know, so, you know, we don't hear much about Bill Clinton's, 24 trips on the Lolita Express down to Epstein Island. There have been plenty of photos that have been released that show that Bill Clinton was receiving massages by young women. We know that Bill Clinton has a history of what I would call sexual liberty. We know that Monica Lewinsky was sexually harassed, even though they say, oh, it was consensual. Well, sexual harassment in the workplace specifically isn't about sex. It's about the abuse of power by a person who has more power than their subordinate.
Yeah.
But the Democrats will never admit that.
Okay, I guess we wait and see. So messy. It is so messy.
It is. Well, the swamp normally is messy. That's why they call it the swamp.
Yeah. It's just amazing to me. I mean, look at Bill Gates and others that have, and other key executives, either CEOs or on boards, they're already voluntarily getting off in fear of this coming out. So there is some there. I don't know if we'll ever know what it is, you know.
Right. You know, with all these CEOs and the names and even Howard Lutnick, even Alan Dershowitz, like you said, has been named in the files. And like I said, you know, it's again the Me Too movement where you're supposed to believe all women, unless, of course, that the accusations are being levied against a Democrat. Again, the Democrats only asked Eric Swalwell to step down from the campaign until the pressure got so much that they forced his expulsion from Congress,
right,
or at least his resignation.
Yeah. All right, let me take a quick break here. When we come back, I got a lot more I want to talk about. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out Megan's new website, CaliforniaGlobe.com, where she's now the executive editor. There's a picture of that landing page, a great resource for some stories, CaliforniaGlobe.com. We'll be right back.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express. Breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
The 71.5 Golf Challenge arrives Saturday, May 16th with a 4-person scramble, morning and afternoon shotguns, and a 6:30 award social. Register your team by April 1st for an early bird special. Score the team player pack for just $20 instead of $100 with the code EARLYBIRDIE. Become a sponsor and help kids across Southern Oregon. Visit 715.org or call 541-779-3275. At the 71.5 Golf Challenge, your drive saves lives.
Hi, I'm Ryan Robertson, host of a brand new program on the Dove, Ministries on the Move. Ministries on the Move spotlights the incredible work of how God is using everyday people and organizations, putting their faith into action, serving the hurting, strengthening families, and sharing the hope of the gospel in practical ways. Be inspired and discover these Ministries on the Move. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4 p.m., right here on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative. More at thedove.us.
Mornings on the Dove covers issues affecting you.
But we also take the time to have some fun and laugh.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
And these days, we all need encouragement. Count on Mornings on the Dove to deliver just that from God's Word.
Along with the day's forecast and interesting stories from Jerry's historical archives.
So start your day with encouragement and information.
Join us for Mornings on the Dove. Weekdays on the Dove TV, radio, and streaming. Welcome back. Always a joy to have with us Megan Barth. She's the executive editor now, the California Globe, and that's also a place where you can go to and read some of the stories, CaliforniaGlobe.com. Megan, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to ask you this question, so hopefully it comes out okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. The president lately has seemingly attacking some of his base. Now, I know the problems with a lot of these people, but I'm trying to figure out what's really going on here. Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, and then recently, maybe in a different category, he went after the Pope. What do you think's going on here?
Well, and yesterday he also went after Riley Gaines. And so I kind of understand where the attacks come from when it comes to Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and Alex Jones. I kind of get it. I also get the Pope. Because when you look at the popes since John Paul II, they have all come from the Jesuit wing of the Catholic faith. And the Jesuit wing of the Catholic faith is fundamentally liberation theology, which is Marxist at its core. When you look at the current pope, I would never trust a pope from Chicago, but nonetheless, here we are. The Pope met with David Axelrod. I think it was last week or a couple weeks ago. After that meeting, the Pope comes out, I guess in favor of illegal immigration and mosques. And then 3 bishops come forward to 60 Minutes and basically trash the United States and trash the president. I don't think that the meeting between David Axelrod and the Pope, and then the following media blitz that the Pope went on, as well as these three bishops, is a coincidence. So the Catholic Church in general, since John Paul II, has been very highly politicized, specifically from the left. The popes have been very progressive, as liberation Marxists are, or theologians are. And so, if the Pope and the Catholic Church believed that illegal immigration or mass unfettered migration into Western civilizations is a good thing, then they can tear down their wall around the Vatican, and they can suffer the same consequences that many of our American cities do from the crime of illegal immigration. There was just a statistic that went out, I think it was yesterday that I read, that 62% of all the murders in the United States in the last year were committed by people who have no right to be here. In other words, more than a majority rather, of murders in our country were committed by illegal aliens. So if the Pope thinks this is such a great thing, tear down the wall, harking from Reagan.
Yeah.
And allow mass migration into the Vatican, into the Vatican City, and then see how much the Pope loves illegal immigration.
Well said. All right. So why the others? Why the attack on the others?
Well, I think there has been this unfortunate scourge and rise in anti-Semitism, not only across the country, but within even the talking heads that were formerly Trump supporters, where you have Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and others, not Riley Gaines, lobbying against the Israeli lobby. Now, I understand why people have a problem with perhaps us funding Israel and their continued wars, especially when Trump said, look, no new wars. And here we are in the midst of a war with Iran. I get their criticism of perhaps funding what they see as Israelis' war. However, the Iran regime has been threatening America and the West for nearly 50 years. So I wouldn't call this Israelis' war. We finally have a president that's willing to do something about it, and that is to strip Iran not only of the regime and the Islamic terrorist regime, but strip them of their capabilities of building a nuclear weapon. And as Marco Rubio said on the shows this weekend, it was imminent. The fact that Iran had processed enough uranium, had the sites underground, hundreds of feet underground, they were very close at securing a nuclear weapon. And not only would the West or America be under attack, as we have been constantly with their threats, but so would the Western civilized world, because they believe in a caliphate. They believe the former Iranian regime not only believed in terrorism as a tool for political means, but they wanted an Islamic caliphate. So this president took a very unpopular step in the first year of his presidency, before the midterms, in order to protect our way of life. Not the popular thing to do, certainly not popular with the talking heads that were formerly on the right, but sometimes you have to do things that are unpopular in order to have a long-term strategy of peace.
So do you think, to your point, highly risky, going into midterms, the war is extended on, it's a ways to go yet, obviously. It's also shaken up NATO. I will say this recent blockade apparently has really put a chokehold on China. I mean, This thing is developing into being really something quite significant. However, back home, we don't like $6 a gallon of gas.
That's right.
And so at what point does this bite them?
Well, I think it has already a little bit, honestly. And as gas prices continue to rise, I had to drive yesterday about a half an hour, and I thought, oh, it's usually, and I had to drive up into the rural area of Nevada, into the mountains. And it's always more expensive, usually up in the mountains, for a gallon of gas. Well, surprisingly, it was about the same. I paid over $5 a gallon. So for 9 gallons, it came to like $48.88. And just before the Iranian war, I paid $32 for a full tank. So, we're seeing the effects right now, and it is pinching people's pocketbooks. It's still not as bad as when Joe Biden was president. However, on the West Coast, specifically in Nevada, we're at a choke point because the refineries in California have shut down.
Mm-hmm.
California has gone from 40 oil refineries in the 1980s to less than 9. And 2 of the largest refineries, Chevron and Valero, just said, goodbye, California, see you later. They've got California in their rearview mirror. So our gas prices in Nevada were already rising because of the shutdown, the refinery shutdowns. The Iran war only adds additional stress on gas prices. However, when we look at the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran territorially controlled, you have to ask yourself, why is an Islamic regime, a terrorist regime, controlling the Strait of Hormuz? It's the last person.
Yeah.
So China is in a pickle because they no longer have Iran as their proxy. We captured Maduro. And I think what this pain is right now, there's going to be a short-term pain for a long-term gain. And that's what President Trump said. So hopefully when we get the Strait of Hormuz figured out and President Trump starts unleashing, the cargo ships that are coming through, we'll see some softening in gas prices.
All right, I want to come back to California, what few moments I have left, and again, congratulations. Is California, you think California, is there a crack in the concrete? I mean, is it really possible they're going to get a Republican governor?
It is. It again comes down to voter turnout. And I have been kind of signaling a warning, and I'm also covering Nevada and Arizona. So we do cover not beyond California, but I'm covering the swing states. And this is from my perspective of those swing states as we go into the midterms. When you look at all the No King rallies, no matter how funded they are, no matter how astroturf they are, the fact is that those people are angry enough and they are going to come out to vote in the midterms, and they are going to vote against President Trump, even though he's not on the ballot, which means that they are going to vote against any Republican, period. And so that No Kings rallies, those rallies are their motivation for the midterms. What is our motivation for the midterms?
Yeah, good point.
So President Trump, months ago, I think it was right after he was elected, kind of floated the idea that he was going to do midterm rallies. Now he's coming to Nevada this week. I think he's coming down to Las Vegas this week. And so it seems like maybe that's the initial part of the midterm rallies, but Republicans are going to have to do a lot better job to inspire their base to get out the vote. And certainly John Thune is not helping, especially when nearly 80% of Americans want voter ID in their elections, which brings me to my last point. California voter rolls are so incredibly filthy that I question any and all elections in California and the legitimacy of those.
Yeah, good point. Does President Trump's endorsement mean anything? And do candidates seek it, or are they just kind of not?
I think generally, yes, candidates would want President Trump's endorsement. Do I think in general that endorsements make the difference in a race? No, I personally don't. What makes a difference in the race is messaging. the type of messaging and money.
Yeah.
And also what makes the difference in the race is when you have voter ID, like Florida, for example, and other states that have voter ID, it's amazing how Democrats don't win those states when voter ID is implemented.
Yep. One last question, Megan. Since you're covering California, and you have been for a while, and you kept it a secret from me.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you what, I have so much to write about. I have the longest running fraud article, I think, ever. But anyway.
Good stuff. How unpopular is Governor Newsom?
He's very unpopular. And I think that you see that in the amount of Democratic candidates that are now vying for the governorship. You have many candidates that are critical. You have some candidates that won't say a word because they still want to be in the good graces of the Newsom's machine, which includes Getty money, which includes Nancy Pelosi, et cetera. But, you know, I think that, like, for example, Matt Mahan, who is the San Jose mayor, he's done a pretty good job turning San Jose around. Pretty good. He's still a progressive, but he has, what I would say, been a little bit more critical of Gavin Newsom than the other contenders. But Gavin Newsom at large, he is popular with the radical left wing of the California legislature. However, he's not too popular with the unions right now because he's backing away from the billionaire tax that the SEIU wants to put on the ballot. Now, it remains to be seen if they gather enough petition signatures for the 5% confiscation of wealth tax that they want to put on the ballot. But what this shows is that just the mention of a 5% billionaire tax, we've had $1.2 trillion, I believe it is. No, excuse me. Was it it was $1.2 trillion leave California state. I just wrote about 4 billionaires from California buying up properties in Nevada. And that was just in the last year. And that was over $200 million spread across 4 houses and 3 billionaires. So Gavin Newsom isn't so popular with the makers. Gavin Newsom is very popular with the takers.
Yeah. So when does that petition have to be turned in by?
I'm unsure of the date. I think they have until June. I'm unsure though. But when you look at the ballot signature gathering process in California, James O'Keefe, Nick Shirley, Cam Higbee, all of the undercover investigative journalists that were on the ground in California a couple weeks ago exposed that even the ballot signatures are fraudulent. They are paying homeless people on Skid Row and other areas. They just caught one up in San Francisco. Any Democrat-run city is going to have this fraud. They are literally taking voter roll information, finding some poor Joe on the street who's homeless, having poor Joe sign his name as, Perry Atkinson, providing the address and getting a couple cigarettes or a couple bucks in return for his ballot signature.
Wow. Hey, good to see you. Look forward to many visits. You're at your best. I'm glad to see you smiling.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Check it out, CaliforniaGlobe.com. She's now the executive editor, has been. She's just been an undercover editor. CaliforniaGlobe.com is the website. Thanks, Megan. God bless you.
Oh, you're welcome, Perry. God bless you. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Leiser with Leiser Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house.
we chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
Mornings on the Dove covers issues affecting you. Good morning to you. A lot going on in the news. There always is. We'll give you some recaps of the top stories of the day.
But we also take the time to have some fun and laugh.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
Well, that's pretty wise. And these days, we all need encouragement. Count on Mornings on the Dove to deliver just that from God's Word.
God is faithful.
You go by faith and facts or feelings, along with the day's forecast and interesting stories from Jerry's historical archives.
Changed the business of sports forever. Was being paid a staggering $25,000 a year.
So start your day with encouragement and information.
93% of Americans want voter ID. Join us for Mornings on the Dove. Weekdays on the Dove TV, radio, and streaming live at thedove.us, Roku, and Apple TV. Welcome back, and always a delight, and just perfect timing. Seems like that always happens when we have Pastor Mark Little on. It's the perfect time to have him on. We all need our little fix. He's also the host of the Mark Little Show, available on all of the podcast platforms, and perhaps Apple Podcasts is the most popular, so you can check it out, called the Mark Little Show there on all the podcast platforms. Brother Mark, good to see you, friend. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, America. Jerry Atkinson.
How you doing, bro? Where are you these days? You still in Texas?
I am really, I'm in Frisco, just between you and me. I tell everybody I'm in Dallas.
Okay.
I don't want anybody to drive up to Frisco. But yeah, I'm good, man. Just doing the policy work. I'm doing the ministry work. We've got a great retreat coming up for No Longer Bound, Abortion and Miscarriage Recovery Ministry, which I'm the pastor over. Things are going good, and I'm really busy.
I'm going to ask you a big question. I want a short answer, okay, before we get into everything else. What's the Lord telling you these days?
He's telling me to study, show thyself approved. I have just been in the Word. He's been revealing stuff that, I went to seminary. He's been revealing stuff that I hadn't seen. And so that's what he's saying. Keep studying because we need the prophetic word in this season.
Good. We've decided to talk a little bit about Israel. This is a big topic, and I have a big question down the road first I want to ask you. But right now I want to start with something you're talking about on your podcast when you say most Christians misunderstand Israel. What do you mean by that?
Like you said, it's such a big topic, and I'll try to give you a short answer, but this is a seminary class that could go a good semester if it's dealt with properly. Israel, if you go to Deuteronomy 32, we see something extraordinary. It's an amazing piece of the puzzle and how Israel fits in it, really for all of humanity. Over there in Deuteronomy 32, 8 through 9, we see the scattering at the Tower of Babel. But what we miss is when God says, before Israel ever existed, of course, if it was a person, then it became a people, and then a land. But God says, I'm going to reserve Israel for my portion. And then he scattered the nations. We never completely understand that scattering, after the works of the cross, after Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection, he was a propitiation for us. He satisfied God's wrath. Guess what? In Matthew 28, he then sends us to return those nations to him, and he reclaims all of humanity. And so in that process, Israel is important because what happens? If you want to use the vine metaphor, we were grafted in while they were yet stiff-necked and not going along with the program, as we would say. So Israel plays an important part in all of humanity, and is fascinating to me when we look at it.
Okay, you go on a little bit further, and I'm so glad you've done this. You show a distinction between Israel, Hebrews, Jews, and Israelis. Now, we could camp on this for a long time, but why did you divide those out?
I divided them out because, like everybody else, I would, those terms have often been used interchangeably, and they shouldn't be. Israelis are people who are citizens of Israel, and we often use that term very, very loosely. Jews, that's a term that was self-imposed at the time, post-Babylonian exile, and it carries both an ethnic, a cultural, and a religious moniker, application rather. And then if you go back, Israelites are the people of the book. When we read the Old Testament, those are Israelites who were in and out of Egypt as slaves and so forth. He who blesses Israel shall be blessed, or Abraham shall be blessed, and he who curses Abraham shall be cursed. We use that wrong too. The application is completely out of context.
Okay, so anti-Semitism being what it is and on the rise, and it's always been there through these thousands of years. The point being is that there seems to be if I can use the term, a jealousy that Israel, the Jews, are God's chosen. Now, that's a rub to a lot of people. Do we get the land and the people mixed up?
Boy, Perry, I think you've been studying before me because, you hit the right questions. We do. There's two promises. And so we often just talk about it in one context, as if it's one. There's a land promise. We go back to Genesis 15. I love that, where he walks between the two pieces, a federal covenant with Abraham as he puts Abraham to sleep, and then he walks through the carcasses of the sacrifice that he asks Abraham to bring. It's a land promise, and then there is this seed promise, and that's where we conflate what God is doing. Now, what he does with the land, the Bible goes, you can look at Zechariah, you can look at Ezekiel and Amos, and of course here in Genesis 13 through 15, we can see what he's doing when he talks about the land. He calls Abraham out of Haran, and he says, go to a land that I will give you. And of course, we can go all through that, and indeed he does. But he also, Paul helps us in the New Testament, he gives a seed promise. And we learn in Galatians 3:16 and 3:29, and even in Ephesians, we learn that the seed of Abraham points to Jesus Christ. And he who is in Christ is the seed of Abraham. And that's what I love. And when you tie it all together, he says that there's neither Greek nor Jew. There's neither bond nor free, no female, no male. If you are in Jesus Christ, you are Abraham's seed. And I love that.
Okay, so we're set up for the question, and see if I can ask it, okay? And I want to say this very carefully because I don't want anybody to misunderstand. But we are, as believers, we are to pray for Israel. If you look at the original real estate contract that God gave to Israel, the land of Israel today is about 1/3 of that, okay? And so in our willingness to obey God and pray for Israel and understand what Israel represents, and especially to the Christian faith, we have a tendency to maybe in our rhetoric think that the people of Israel have a special contract with God than we do. And we leave out John chapter 14 that Jesus said, no one, the last time I looked up no one, that means everybody, can come to the Father but through me. That would include the people of Israel. And somehow in our support of Israel, we may be giving that a pass. Or am I stepping out too far?
No, you're not. And let me say up front, Perry, and I want your audience to understand something about me. On my wife's side of the family, her aunt married a Jewish man, Alan Kleinman, who is now gone home. And I'll tell you that I can't count the number of seders that I've been to. Wow. And so I love the traditions of the Jewish people, and I love the people. Our challenge, Perry, is that we mix government with people. And we've got to be very careful about that because we love the people of Israel. And we have to be careful about mixing that with loving the government of Israel. Now, what was your question?
Well, oh, God. You're painting me in a corner. My question is, you're absolutely spot on. I get that. Okay, and I think in our love for the people, and our love for the land, and our love for the history, and our love for the traditions, and believe me, there's a lot to love there, and rightfully so, we may be giving them a pass to salvation.
Okay, yeah. No. So let me get right to the heart of it. Because Zechariah, I believe it's 12:10. I have it in front of me. I'll correct the citation. But there's a beautiful passage there in Zechariah. You're absolutely right. No man comes to the Father but through the Son. There's only one door. And Zechariah tells us, God is speaking, and he says, "What you'll come upon me, and you will mourn when you see the one that you have pierced." And God says right there through his prophet that there is going to come a time when he's going to pour out his Spirit, and they will come home to him. It's very clear in the text. We sort of don't really emphasize that because we, as Christians, for some reason, we think that we're not supposed to share the gospel with our Jewish brothers and sisters and let them know that we will all be in heaven. We will all be in that vine. We've been grafted in, and they too, Paul says, can they not be grafted back in? That's what Paul says in Romans 11. Romans 11 is the key to what you're talking about. Because for a time, Israel is off of the vine. If you talk about the olive tree, they will be grafted back in. And for a season, we've been allowed to be grafted in. We've been allowed to be adopted. We've been allowed to be a part of this grand coming home, if you will. I just love the whole story because it comes all together, and we will all be with God. And Jew and Gentile, the scattering is being brought back together, and he has reserved her for his portion. And so we will all be together through that door, and one door, which is Jesus Christ.
Amen. All right, let me take a quick break. Be sure to check out Mark's podcast, the Mark Little Show, available really on all the platforms out there. And we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Your yard is where life happens, but it can be muddy and hard to maintain. Enjoy a maintenance-free artificial turf lawn all year round with Smart Lawn LLC. No mowing, no fertilizing, no watering. Our synthetic grass is beautiful and resilient. It's certified to be lead-free, and there's no need for pesticides. Safe for your children and pets. Smart Lawn LLC has all your artificial turf and putting green areas covered beautifully. 541-941-3538.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why at Kelly's, it's automotive service with a heart for God, and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond. But that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
This week on the John Ankerberg Show is Christ to their people using audio Bibles.
God is working through these audio Bibles. People hear the Word of God, and God the Holy Spirit uses that Word to pierce their heart. I am impressed with how powerful the Word of God is.
Join me for the John Ankerberg Show right here on the Dove TV. It'll be encouraging and informative.
Hi, welcome back. Always an honor and a joy to have with us our good friend, Pastor Mark Little. He's the host of the Mark Little podcast show. Check it out on all the podcast platforms, and perhaps Apple Podcasts is the most popular, but check it out, the Mark Little Show. He's also an attorney, by the way. I want people to know that he's got that right brain thing going on. Lately, he's been talking about the subject of Israel on his podcast. Hey, Mark, I want to ask you an off-the-wall question. Have you ever been accused of being a Christian Zionist?
Well, it's worse than that. I actually had called myself a Christian Zionist until I began to study.
Sorry, go ahead.
Until I began to study. I used to call myself a Christian Zionist. And in this podcast episode, I conclude for everyone that God doesn't need a political movement to protect what he reserved. And so I only need one title, and that is a follower of Jesus Christ. So that's a great question, and I lovingly challenge folks about how they're following Scripture and how they're following the Word of God, and really understanding what it is He's saying and doing, and being very careful about really putting ourselves in a position to believe that somehow we can do more and greater to protect Israel than God can. And we look at the history of the wars around Israel, and how could such a land be in such conflict when you look around the world? Why this land? Well, that's obvious, because it's God's portion. And by the way, it's much bigger than the land that we're talking about today. The word tells us what the land is. That we've got to be very careful. And we have to study. We have to get in the Word. We have to understand, what does the Word say? Like, as an example, here we are in Iran and Israel. We're having this war. They don't want to call it a war. It's a war. And they want to have a war so that they can rebuild the third temple, not understanding that Jesus Christ was the third temple. We just got people that are saying stuff, and they haven't been in their Word. And that is one of the challenges in the culture, false teaching.
That's one of the reasons I asked you that, because I think we fall into the trap of allowing the culture to define us. And then in our defense, we fall into the trap of arguing these terms. And I like the fact that you backed away from it and said, no, you're a follower of Jesus Christ. The other one is, Christian nationalist. And all this stuff that they throw at us is a diversion to get us off on that track. And a lot of times we get lost, and we got to be careful about that. But I want to come back to something you just mentioned. At the end of the day, what do you think the ultimate purpose of the land of Israel is to the world?
Well, we know in Revelation that Jesus at his second coming comes back, Temple on the Mount, and the New Jerusalem comes down. It's just a significant piece of land that God gave to Abraham and his descendants. And that is the sort of the ethnic inheritance, if you will. Why he did it in his sovereignty, it's something that I talk about in the podcast. And I'm thinking about doing an actual episode about the land itself. But in his sovereignty and in his time, he's going to do what he promised Abraham that he would do. it's interesting because God bound himself. He bound himself to the promise regarding the land with Abram at the time. I mean, just think of that. In the culture of that day, you would walk down the aisle between the two carcasses as a covenant. You would do it together. What God did is he put Abraham to sleep and he walked down the aisle himself. God bound himself to the promise. And here's what's interesting in the culture. If you broke the promise, you would suffer the fate of the carcasses that you just walked past. That was the significance of walking down the aisle between the carcasses. God made a unilateral covenant relating to that land. And in his sovereignty and in his time, it's going to be done just the way he promised.
Do you think the current events in the Middle East are prophetic?
Oh my goodness. How could they not be, right? I think that it is a march. It is a march toward the fulfillment of the prophetic. I mean, here we are in Zechariah 12:10, and the prophet is talking about he's going to pour his spirit out on the house of David, and he's pointing to Jesus as the one who was pierced. I mean, the whole journey that we're on together, frankly, Perry, in returning the scattered nations, who are the Gentiles, by the way, scattering, brought back together in the Great Commission. I think what you and I are doing right now is a part of prophecy being fulfilled every day that we live and breathe, and we accept our calling as ambassadors from the kingdom of Jesus Christ. I think we are walking out the prophetic.
Beautiful. I know we could spend a lot of time on the promise of the seed. I may want to put that on the shelf for another day, but one other quick question here. With anti-Semitism on the rise, it seems to be more about the people than the land. And that may be the mistake right there. Or am I seeing it wrong?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You know what? I put it in the bucket, Perry, of the problem in the culture. We focus on Israel for obvious reasons because of what it means to us as a quote-unquote Christian nation and as our partner there. But it's really a part of the broader work of the enemy in the culture. We know that there is something very special about Israel because it is God's own. So everything is a war between good and evil. Whether it's black versus white, whether it is Catholic versus Jew, whatever it is, there is a clash that the enemy has created in the culture called division. If you look at what's happening even with abortion, you look at what's happening with transhumanism, transgenderism, and all these things, it is a poison pill set in the culture that ultimately Jesus Christ, he came to fix, and he's coming back once and final for all to fix it as he takes us home. But it is a poison pill in the culture, Perry, and anti-Semitism, of course, is very real, but it's real because of God's attachment to the land and to the people who become the followers of Jesus Christ, the seed of Abraham.
Oh, gosh, I only have a few moments left, but let me see if I can squeeze this in. In reading the Bible and studying the Bible, and you going to seminary, I've got a couple of Bible school years under my belt. Here's the deal. It becomes so obvious of what the Bible says, who is the Messiah. You kind of shake your head while the Jews don't get it.
Well, they don't get it because it's a part of God's plan. If the Jews got it, which was not his plan, but if they got it, when would the grafting of the Gentiles have occurred? Yeah. They didn't get it. Yeah. Romans talks about it. Paul talks about it. They fell off for such a time for the Gentiles to be grafted in. It's just God's sovereignty and how he has returned humanity to himself.
Yeah, the reason I bring that up, I mean, you've been to Seder's and you've experienced the traditions. Yeah. Gosh, it is so It is so fulfilling of Christ, and yet they don't see that.
and he is birthed from them. And that's the most amazing part of it. The Messiah is from them, and they've rejected him.
Love you, brother.
And we might be the inheritance.
Hey, good to see you. Love you, man. Let me say to our viewers, check out his his podcast, The Mark Little Show. Check that out on all the platforms. God bless you, friend. Let's stay connected. We got a lot to talk about.
Thank you. I'll see you in a few weeks.
Okay.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegateRV.com.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old-world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. Oh, shine.
Experience evangelism like never before with the award-winning Way of the Master, Thursday and Friday on the Dove TV. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. And look who is here. Paulina is with me today. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you.
What's going on? I'm out of my box.
Oh, no, you're back in it. You're in the box you're supposed to be in. Anyway, good morning. Everything's fine. Good to see you. Jerry's away today and tomorrow, but good to see you. And
thank you.